this thing was solid. It's solid, full of holes and crap.
Too bad it's not the roof that looks like this.
I know, and we're gonna chop it off. It's called a sling ray. It started as a Polaris slingshot with 3 wheels.
I just didn't feel like it was finished right.
No matter how custom a car is, there's always something else to do.
Holy cow!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You might have noticed we had this 64 Lincoln sitting in the lot for quite some time. 4 or 5 years, I don't really know how many.
Well, numbers off this thing. I think I got this thing sold.
Really? Yeah. I've been wanting to hear that for quite a while. It's one of those things. I bought it for a build, and it just never happened. So it never left. Man, I was beginning to think this thing was going to be here forever.
Well, it might not be going too far. I think our buyer is gonna want us to build it.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. It don't get any better than that, right? Make a little money on the sale, and then make a little money on the customization.
That is for sure.
These are always cool cars, man. I mean, the 64 Lincoln is just, it's iconic. Been itching to do some stuff to one of these for quite a while. There's so much you can do to these things. I mean, this thing's 20 feet long, and it's almost 20 feet wide.
20 feet of fury, but it's more of a boat than it is a car.
You're right.
Maybe put some propellers on the back or something, take it around the lake.
Hey, before you get too far, man, let's make sure you get this thing sold.
I'm not making any promises, but I'm 100% going to sell this car today.
I like that confidence, man. Let's see what you got.
Let's do it.
Somebody just walking around Sunny Drive, these old cars might not look like much. You know, I wouldn't keep them all around if I didn't see the potential of what they could be. The whole trick is to find someone that wants that project. Once you have that, it's really satisfying to bring these old cars back to life.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Hey, man, real good. Congratulations, you're the new owner of the 60.
It's a fantastic car. You know, ever since I rode in one about 25 years ago, wanted to get one of these, a nice convertible Lincoln Continental ever since.
The one you bought is a coupe. It still has its top on it. You know that, right?
Can you guys help me with that?
So you wanted to make this thing a convertible?
That would be sweet, yeah.
Man, we can definitely do that. That'd be real cool. Just chop the top off, weld all the seams up, and just make it a convertible all year round.
All year round, yep.
Where are you located?
I'm outside of Boston, so we'll have to make sure it's got some heat.
We can definitely do that. How far are we taking it?
If you guys can do your magic and make it something really, really custom, really sweet for me, I'd love to have a really nice street cruiser that goes fast and handles well.
And we definitely got you on that. First thing, put a modern engine in it with a lot of power, reliability, just something you can get in, hit the key, and haul butt with.
Oh, I love it.
We'll put it on air suspension, big brakes, big wheels and tires. Make this Lincoln ride really good, handle really well, and you're going to look cool doing it.
That sounds awesome.
Any preference toward any colors, anything like that?
To me, a Lincoln Continental, that vintage has always been black. And then in the interior, I think like a white.
Kind of like a junior mint.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Frank wants this full-time convertible, so one thing we're going to focus a lot on is the interior. That's a really, really important thing on any car, but especially build you something just totally custom and totally unique and just make this a piece of art.
All right.
Well, Frank, man, I know exactly what you want, and we're gonna make this thing happen for you.
All right, perfect. Can't wait to see it.
Talk to you later. You know, this job's like a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it's really good to get this thing out of the lot, get it sold, but, you know, the other hand, I know exactly how much work is going to have to go into this. Every job has its own set of challenges, no different. You know, I'm really nervous. One of the things you dread most on a car this old, been sitting for quite some time, is rust. I mean, rust destroys everything. I mean, it's a New Mexico car, nice and dry climate. It should be pretty solid, but once we blast it, we'll know for sure.
Max, there's a ton of Lincolns, ton of them been done. What are we going to do that's going to be different?
It's not what we're doing, it's what aren't we doing? You know, I definitely got a couple concerns on this thing. First, you see the rust going through on the hood and trunk lid, right?
That's definitely not going to bust.
Looks pretty solid, but we won't know until we get it blasted. You know, the next thing, engine out of this thing is going to have brand new power plant. Yeah. We want that Cody in here. Put the Ford engine with the Ford body.
Very cool.
You know, keep it all legit. As far as the interior, everything completely out. We're going to start fresh on that. We really want to focus on the interior too, because there's not going to be a top on it.
Where is the top going?
The top's going in the scrap bin.
We're just totally roastering, taking the top.
Cutting the roof completely off this thing, taking all the glass out and capping the doors and the deck lid. 100% no top all the time.
That's awesome.
You know we got to make this thing low to the ground. Get this thing on air suspension, get it all the way on the ground, freshen everything up. 24x8s in the front, 24x10s in the back, new brakes, all joints, everything. Start 100% fresh.
Tell me we're going black.
You know, I totally agree with Frank. This car just needs to be black. Not just a normal black, not just a deep black. We're going to give it something that wakes it up a little bit. It's going to be cool. You know, the chrome just really makes this car. I mean, we definitely need to keep this on it.
Looks like it's mostly here.
Yeah.
I think it's all here.
Re-chrome the bumpers, grille. Man, it really stand out against that black.
Awesome.
First things first is getting some totally stripped.
We'll get some people. We'll get started.
I'm going to go get a bunch of parts.
Ready? Ready? We'll take the trunk off and the lid off. I'll go get John, take all the interior out. Hey, we got the trunk out. So far, I'm pleasantly surprised. It didn't look as bad as I thought. When John gets the carpet out, this will be a telltale sign to see how the floor looks in this thing.
One of the challenges with these old cars is everything's stripped out, everything's rusted, nothing really wants to come apart, so a lot of times you just got to turn the bolts into liquid. Just stuck to the floor. It's still standing here. That's a plus.
Surprisingly, it looks really good. This floor could have been a whole lot worse. We're going to take all the 1964 off this car. We're going to make everything modern, make everything handle better, drive better, stop better. So to do that, we need a clean slate. We're going to take all this old stuff, get it out of here. So now we get it blasted, it's going to be a fresh new start. We won't have to deal with 60 years of dirt, grease, grime. We can weld right to it, and we know it's ready to go. Can I go up? Up. Go. Go down. Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah. Whew. It was a lot of dirty work, but we finally got this thing all stripped down. The next big surprise is going to be when it comes back from blast.
Depending on how backed up the media blaster is, sometimes a project can take up to 2 weeks to come back. But other times, like in this case, it's the next day.
And it came back from blast. That side doesn't look as bad. I want you to look at this side. It looks a lot rougher than when it left. Especially, I don't know what's going on here. You speechless?
Man, I thought this thing, you know, was solid. It's solid, full of holes and crap, right?
The paint was all faded. You would think over time you'd start to see stuff coming back through it, but it was well hidden.
Man, very well. The other side looks decent. The floorboards look decent. Everything underneath looks good.
Yep. Too bad it's not the roof that looks like this.
I know. The roof looks really good. We're going to chop it off. Well, we got to do what we got to do now. We're already too deep in this thing to do anything about it, so we'll just replace the fender. Probably going to replace the quarter. Let's get it. You know, you always hate it when a car comes back from media blast and it's in worse shape from what you thought. The 1964 Lincoln is a lot worse. Luckily, Max sourced some old replacement panels. That way Jamie can get busy and get them replaced. This thing's
pretty much beyond repair. I mean, all the Swiss cheese down here, these ripples into the door jamb, and then we come to the front right here. This is pretty much the same story. It's too far gone. We don't want to put any metal like that back. So best thing to do, go ahead and cut this off, skin this with a new fender, and send it back to the body shop. Let's get started. All these little indentions are spot tacks. I have to drill everyone out. So cue the time lapse. Spot tacks are just about out, so we'll go ahead and score a line right next to this door to make it easier to go ahead and get these leftover spot tacks out. Just a quick cut with a cutoff wheel, and we'll have this panel off. This was on another car a week ago. Just an old 64, 65 fender. I always like to use original parts instead of like a repop. The new metal is a little bit thinner, the old metal is a little bit thicker and stronger. On this panel, there's a chrome trim piece right here. If I don't need even, you'll see a gap on the chrome. So it's really important that I clamp everything right where it needs to go. In the old days, this is how they did it with the spot tacks. Nowadays, they glue panels together. I mean, I don't know. I've seen glue come apart, so you'll never catch me using a glue gun. It's always going to be a welder. Okay, that one's in. Everything looks good. Go ahead and move on to the back now.
I look up, I've been wanting to see this thing for quite some time. It's called a sling ray. It rolled into SEMA a couple years ago. And man, people haven't stopped talking about it since. Tim, what's happening?
What's up, Bill? How you doing, brother?
Man, all right. Man, I finally get to see this thing in person.
Sure do, man. What do you think of it?
Man, it's crazy. But finally seeing this thing in person, it's amazing. I mean, it's a work of art. It started as a Polaris slingshot, which is an auto cycle with 3 wheels.
We basically turned it into a 4-wheel conversion instead of 3 like the typical.
That's unbelievable.
Dropped in an LS3 with a stage 2 Whipple. And of course, we did this crazy exoskeleton to match Corvette ZR1. 650 plus horsepower, a huge sound system in it, and it's all on air ride.
Crazy.
Big adult go-kart.
This is the kind of thinking that I like, just totally out of the box. So what brings you by, man?
A couple little things that, when I got the car back, basically just weren't complete. I just didn't feel like it was finished right.
I totally get it. No matter how cool, how custom a car is, there's always something else to do.
The engine bay over there, there's a lot where you can see the wiring and everything else, that we needed like some kind of like sheet metal or something, that cool cover plate.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Big void right here. You can build a sheet metal panel, give it some bead rolling, make it look really nice. And the filter, man, yeah. It definitely needs something else on there for sure.
Started on the filter. I can always tell who the haters are because that's the first thing they talk about every time they look at this car. Everything else in this car is completely custom, so I think that should be too.
I might just have to test drive this thing, personally, and just make sure the suspension is right, the engine's performing right, Just make sure everything's right for you.
Of course, man, whatever you got to do.
Look out for you.
Oh, I know you're looking out for me. I'm sure you want to take it for a spin to get that, get the feel for those compartments.
Yeah, I just got to make sure,
Oh yeah. I totally get it, man. Of course, take it for a spin.
Looking at this, it's just a tease.
Man, I've been seeing this thing on the internet. I didn't think I'd see it in person.
Come on, man, let's go check it out. When you see a car like this, a vehicle like this, you gotta get behind the wheel and just feel it. This thing is great to drive. Handles good, rides good, got unbelievable amount of power. That's exactly what you want, driving something like this. I can totally understand the obsession of getting this thing 100% right and 100% finished. Everywhere you go, it draws a huge crowd. Everybody wants to talk to you about it. What I'm to ask is, how come this isn't finished right here? When we're done with this, there's not going to be a reason for that guy to say one word.
So what are we doing to this thing?
Everything is has been done to this thing, which is everything.
Yeah.
Once you have a project done like this, there's always that 1 or 2 or 10 things that you see that nobody else sees. Once you see those things, you can't unsee it. You're just fixated on it until it's fixed. Of course, one of the things is the air filter. This thing is way too cool to have something that uncool on it. And the next thing, it's got a couple little pockets in the front, little factory, little voids where you see down in it, just looks unfinished. We're going to fabricate custom panels on both sides of the engine to hide all that wiring. And then we'll color match them with two-tone paint.
Clean it up real good?
Yeah. You know, it's really cool to get a project like this in the shop, even though we didn't build it. It's good to be a part of it. Without saying, because you can see right into the engine. The look of the covers are fine, so to go over with the overall flow of the sling ray. Basically, I'm starting with a blank chipboard. And I'm going to scratch out a couple designs, see if I can get some things to work and fit around these areas, make it something you want to look at instead of something you look away from. I'm just getting a rough outline. I'm going to see how I can tie everything in together to hide as much of these wires, these canisters as I can, because it's not very nice to look at. It's time consuming, but it's definitely necessary. See how much better it ties in already? That's already looking a lot better. As you can see, it's not just a flat piece of metal. It's got a lot of shapes and bends and contours. It's busy. I'm gonna have a lot of little tricky details on this one little panel, and I also have to duplicate this to the other side, which makes it even harder. For most car guys, the sling ray is almost a perfect build. But even then, there's always one more thing. So right now, Jamie's making some custom panels to hide all that wiring. So now I got all my pieces right here. Taking the tape off, kind of just breaking them down into flat panels. Try to space put them wherever. Once I do that, go ahead and cut it out, and then I'll start shaping it. So rather than making another template for the other side, I'll go ahead and make my template out of the copies that I just cut out. It'll just be mirrored, flipped. That'll be my other side. So this is my passenger side, this is my driver's side, this is the side I made my template from. So I'm going to take my template, mark both panels out at once so they're exactly the same. I put the same bins, the same roll, everything in it at the same time. Alright, let's cross fingers. Take your time to do this. You can't just rush this. This has to be planned out. One wrong bend and you might as well throw the panel away. You can look at it right now and see that everything's exactly the same contour, but my bend right here connects right to my bend right there. This first one, now just a couple more left to go. Pretty happy with the shape. I'm ready to tack everything up. Pretty happy with the way this is starting to look. So all I need to do is mirror the other side, then I can continue on forming on this piece around the edge. We made real progress on the suspension for the 64 Lincoln. We tied the two links directly into the existing unibody.
How's your two legs look, parallel or what?
Looks pretty close right here.
We're buttoning up the bag mounts, and then we're moving on to turning this into a roadster.
Go ahead and tack it on the corner, just like you did on the other side. You know, being here at Extensive working on these Lincolns, it's always cool to be able to put these parts on and see it all come together, and once it drives out and you see it sitting on the ground, it's pretty awesome.
Before you just go chopping a top off, you know, it's critical to reinforce the body first. This whole Lincoln is a unibody car, so that means there's no frame underneath this thing. The body itself is super rigid and doesn't need a frame, but we just can't cut the roof off or the whole car just bend in half, right? So what we need to do is cut 2 inches out of here and put in 2x4 box tubing in it. So this thing is really, really, really rigid. Let's get it, man. Once you get on that side and just kind of replicate what I'm doing on this side, we'll knock it out.
Okay.
Straight as you can, right on the outside of the line, because it's going to be a lot easier to put the tubing in and out with it not being right on it. But you don't want to get too far out, because that's the bigger gap we have to weld up, and that just takes more time. Once that's out of the way, we can see what's under it and see how much farther to go.
That's good right there. From underneath, it's one piece of metal that just curves around into the floor. So I raised it up to get a better angle with the cutting wheel. That'll be way easier than doing it from inside the car.
Yeah. Like a glove, pretty much what we have now is a frame for this thing. That tubing is going to hold the majority of the flex and weight of this car.
It was a pain, but we got it done.
Well, you ain't done yet. You got the other half to do. Let's just get one side in at a time to make sure this thing doesn't buckle and bend and twist.
Bill finished getting these tacked in. I'm going to go ahead and weld them out. These welds are going to take a while. You don't want to stay in one spot too long and have it heat up and distort the metal, so you got to jump around and make sure it's done right.
Got this piece without a roof. The door frames will lose their structural integrity, so I made a support to put the strength and rigidity back into it. Everything looks good. You got everything welded in nice and solid. It's a lot of welding, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Now I got this for the pillar. That's going to keep everything nice and strong. Make sure these doors shut the same way as before when we had the top on it.
All right.
Man, you're doing a great job.
Thanks, man.
Because the Lincoln's not going to have a roof, the interior is going to be that much more visible. With that in mind, John and Brian are getting after making one-off door panels.
Oh, what you got there? Man, I come with breakfast tacos and dreams.
Okay.
So, my idea, instead of just a pleated panel, wood pleats. We'll take this board and cut it down to be about 3/8 of an inch thick, and basically cut the pleats into the wood.
I see.
Do a pearl white on top of this so the grain really pops out on it.
We carry that throughout the vehicle. That'll look really cool.
I know, that's why I was kind of like, got it. That's what we're gonna do. But first, taco. Now I got them cut to size. Next thing I got to do is cut them in half the long way. Get them 2 pieces of the right thickness. We'll run them through the planer, get everything smooth, nice and neat, and then we'll cut our pleats in it. I've set up a fence on the table saw. I want 1.5 inch wide pleats, so cut me some 1.5 inch wide strips. Follow the fence, make the first cut, then I'll stack one in, make another cut, another cut, another cut. Each time I put one of those in there, it moves me 1.5 inches over, gives my spacing evenly all the way across the board, so we get all these things cut and we'll be looking good. All right, so with that done, as you can see, we've got our pleats all the way across here. Everything's cut, they're nice and even. So the next thing we'll do, clean up the edges, and they'll be ready to stain.
All right, let's go.
We're adding a lot of power to the 64 Lincoln with the brand new Coyote 5.0.
435 horsepower of fury.
Down.
Like it's supposed to be there.
Now that we finished the air suspension and reinforced the body, we can get going to turning this thing into a roadster.
We're going to do a one-weather car.
Yeah, there's no putting the top back on after this.
Much idea.
Cheers. We'll chop down low right here. And once we cap this part of the door, all this flows together. You know, if you open the doors, man, it'll look nice without that indention there.
That's going to be a clean body line right there. That's going to look slick.
After we get it cut, we'll have the doors open all out of the way. And if we did our job right, the doors shut back in the right spot, right?
Everything braced up super solid. I mean, I don't think it's going to move at all. It's not going to move at all. I'm about to cut this piece out right here.
It's gonna be below their doors jammed, so it's just gonna fade right on in. You'll never see it. Got the front half pretty much cut. Now I'm just gonna go on this line right here. That's it.
You got it?
She's loose.
3 feet. Oh, yeah.
Got a little splinter. Ooh. Ready. All right. Got a hard chop for sale. Whoa.
Let's see if the door's shut.
All right. Look at that.
Looks good, man.
I think they should have made them like this.
Should be a factory option. The custom filler panels for the sling ray, they're all welded out. Now it's time to add some colors.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, just checking this thing out. Jamie just did a really good job making the filler panels for this. Next step, get it all color matched, making it look good. I don't want it to stand out, so I want this wrinkle black so it all matches everything else. Paint this the silver to match the little trim on the side.
To make a two-tone and match the texture and the color at the same time.
Yeah.
It's gonna look sick, man.
Yeah, let me know when you get done with it.
All right, man. Bill said he wanted a two-tone from right here. Over here, it will be base coat, clear coat, so it will be all gloss. From right here to this side, it will be all texture to match the rest of the car. I'm gonna have to cover this whole piece right here and pretty much leave this wide open. I'm showing you why I'm using this kind of texture is because it's actually real close to the texture of the car, so it'll match really good once this whole thing's done. It's gonna look real nice.
Now Jamie can get the new intake in. Yeah, it looks good. And we're ready to give this right back to Tim.
Morning, Bill.
Man, good morning, Tim.
Good, man. How you doing, dude?
Good, man. You
Doing
want
them
donuts?
Nah, man, I'm good. I already had my coffee today. So I figured you didn't call me for donuts this morning, huh?
Might have something to show you.
Super excited to see it, man.
Why don't you just have your little donut, and I'll be right back.
All right. Deal. Oh, man! This thing looks sick. As soon as Bill pulled out, first thing I could look at was the engine compartment. Those new custom panels and that air intake looks awesome. I couldn't ask for anything better. Absolutely love it. Man, dude, looks amazing, man. I love it.
You know, Tim, when you came in, it looked unfinished to you. I mean, there was just a couple of little issues here and there that you can't unsee once it's in your brain. You got to address it.
Oh, right? Definitely, man.
So that's what we did. Got it in the shop. Jamie got busy pounding some metal out, forming those panels for you. Man, he comes through.
Yeah.
Always.
Looks so good. I actually was only expecting some flat sheet metal panels, maybe some bead roll on it, but they actually contoured the metal parts to where it actually looks like it's part of the car. It looks so cool.
After he hammered those out, shipped them over to the body shop. They do what they do. Made these things super slick, two-tone paint, and added a texture on the inside, so it looks like a part you would get from the dealership.
Dude, it does. It totally wraps up this engine bay, though, for sure.
Well, that and
the intake.
The air intake that you had on there, it looked kind of cheesy, but now it's just over the top. You guys replicated the body from a Corvette, so, just got a 2017 Z06 intake, made it just flow with the rest of it. These are definitely the jobs that, just the little tweaks here and there make such a huge statement. Goes a long way with the customer.
Just wraps it all up.
Yeah, man.
I think this is now complete. Let's go and drive it.
Hey, speaking of,
yeah,
I got something I've been wanting to do.
What is it, man?
Man, I always wanted to do donuts while eating donuts.
What?
Yeah, man. I've been thinking about this for a while.
You want to do it?
Man, let's do it.
I'll hold this.
All right.
All right.
I like donuts. I like doing donuts. So how do you top that off? You do donuts while eating donuts. This is a great day. Got a donut hanging out of my mouth, rubber flying, smoke everywhere, Tim screaming. Doesn't get better than that.
I really tried hard to play cool. I was like, I'm done. Wow, man, that was wild. You're crazy. You're crazy.
Did I wake you up a little bit?
Just a little bit, man. Good idea. Good idea.
We're painting the 64 Lincoln. One brought Lewis in to help him paint the custom wood door panels.
So what we've got here is oak, and it's a very grainy species of wood. So we're going to take the wire brush, and we're actually going to rip out all of the softwood to expose the true character of this species. You can start to see the difference on how the character of the grain is actually accented in the piece. All right, we got them all done. Now we just need to take them over to the paint booth, get some paint mixed up, and put some paint on them. Our base coat, you know, it's a brighter white. So what I've done is I've taken that base coat and added some of the pearl powders to it to get really close to the color of the vinyl that we're going to be using in the Lincoln. All right, so we got everything sprayed. We're going to let it dry. It looks really good. You can tell the wire brushing really helped to accent that grain. It's going to look sick, dude.
We're almost done making the 64 Lincoln topless. One of the last steps of the metalwork is capping the doors. You know, I love the no roof on this car. Warm, sunny day. Definitely not going to need the windows to roll up. So what we did is bent some 20 gauge sheet metal, and we're going to cap the doors so you can just see smooth custom lines and everything just flowing. And that's exactly what we want. Same spot. Right there. We put these bars across here. That way we know without having to get back and look at it that everything is 100% true straight. This is straight up against this tubing. It is perfectly parallel with that over there. You know, the way we do something like this is leave the panel that we made all in one piece. That way, when we're tacking everything in, everything is 100% straight. Once you get it tacked in, all you need to do is go back and make a cut where the door opening is going to be, and then you fine-tune the little edges, and before you know it, you got a cool custom cap for a 64 Lincoln. Look good. Let's go eat. The dash on the 64 Lincoln was in really rough shape. But John and Brian, they have no choice but to make it work.
Well, as you can see, this dash looks terrible. So we checked a couple of places, and no one on the interwebs has one. So that just meant we fixed the one we got. Just gonna take a little bit of fiberglass putty, or get it packed into here. We'll get it all body worked out. Now, if that's done, the next thing we're going to do is start working on the defrost vent panel. We're going to mold in a speaker grill into that so we can put our speakers back in the factory location. We'll cut out a piece of wood. We'll just trace out our template. Once that's shaped out, a little bit of trim here to modify this factory panel so it'll fit in properly. Next thing to do, get it taped up, put it on the panel, get it body worked in. All right. Got everything worked out on the dashboard, looking good, body worked out, looks nice. The next thing we gotta do is wrap it. All right, so I got this nice white vinyl. Lay it up here, trace it all out, get our patterns done, and then sit down and sew it together. In order for this to lay out properly, we wanna make sure we take the time to keep this nice and flat. If we get any wrinkles in it now, when we sew it together, it will be sewing a wrinkle into it. Off to the side, now what we'll do, get these things sewn together. When I was growing up, I always wanted custom cars. I knew I couldn't afford it, so I had to figure out how to do it myself. I ended up sitting behind a sewing machine. But it's just kind of a natural progression. When you get into doing interiors, you kind of expand what you do, and the sewing actually helps you out. You can build anything you want, because no matter what, you'll be able to cover it. I got a nightmare.
Well, it looked like a nightmare. How long is this thing?
About 11 feet. This is not going to be fun.
It's just so much material. You sure this thing fits?
I have a little bit of faith in my process. I don't know what's worse, no glasses or clogged up glasses. So now that everything's glued, steamed, and in place, we're just going to take our knife, take a little patience, and work our way around it, get everything trimmed out. And once it's all trimmed out, this thing will be ready to go in the car.
We finished the bodywork for the Lincoln, now we can get it into paint. The owner wants a high gloss black to contrast the all white interior.
Beautiful.
And now we can put back in the 5.0 Coyote engine.
That looks good on the nice black engine compartment. Yeah, it does. It's tight fit. Well, let's get everything else finished up so we can go for a ride.
We're adding some custom 22-inch wheels and tires, dash, door panels, and seats. And we even re-chromed the original chrome. Man, it's crazy to think this thing sat in our lot for years. And now it looks brand new again.
I've been in the industry for 15 years now. I've had the skills and the knowledge over the years, but just we've never had the workplace to be able to pull it off. But here, it's a whole nother world. John was actually one of my instructors years ago. As an instructor, he knew exactly how to build you out as a person to turn you into a fabricator. It's really, really cool to have that kind of friendship/instructor going on, and it still carries on to this day. John hit me up on Facebook, and he's telling me there's a position available. I definitely knew I could not miss this opportunity. I had to take this. Since it is the major leagues over here, to get this opportunity and come here and to be able to use my skills and advance my skills, it's a very, very amazing feeling to feel like you've got to the top. It was a mind rush to see how this place operates and watch the vehicles come through and the speed we're having to build at, but still have the freedom to be able to build whatever we want. And I never would have thought I'd be standing here looking into this camera.
Old Lincoln's finally done. It's pretty funny. Frank's on his way to check out his one-weather car, and it's cold and rainy. Been a staple in the parking lot for quite some time. From a diamond in the rough to a full polished show car. Always knew his car was going to get finished one day.
Hey there, I'm here for a Lincoln.
Frank, what's happening?
Hey, Billy, Val, how are you guys?
It's a great day to pick up a one-weather car, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is. I brought my rain jacket. I'm all set. You guys ready for me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I purchased that car years ago with intentions to eventually build it myself, but, you know, I've been kind of busy over the last few years, you know what I mean? Man, I'm finally glad we're able to take it in, get it finished up. We built you something really special, man, really cool.
I am ready to see it.
Let's go
see
check
this
it out.
car.
Let's go see it.
All right. Yeah, man, I'm really excited to see this car. It's going to be fantastic.
Check this out.
Holy cow! Woo! That is... Out and saw that car. Oh my goodness, I was blown away. Just love at first sight. My wildest dreams, I had some ideas, but I couldn't even imagine anything like this.
All your buddies are going to be jealous.
Oh, they are. They are.
Frank, the rest of the world's going to be jealous about this car. You know, there's nothing like seeing a big old long car with a no roof sitting on the ground like this one. You can't tell how many hours and hours of metal work that went into it. You know, I thought it was a solid car. Once we got it blasted, came back, you know, it was way, way worse shape than I originally thought. So we had to end up replacing the front fender and the rear quarter and the hood also. Once we got the body straight, the fun begins. This car being, you know, a unibody, just cutting the roof off isn't that easy. So what we had to do is go in and basically built a frame inside the body of the car to make it super rigid.
Give it enough stiffness so it's not twisting all over the place. Yeah, that's awesome.
So once we did that, we were able to cut the roof totally off, and we went and capped the top of the doors, and then capped the whole deck. I don't think it gets any cleaner than this.
It feels like poised and relaxed, but at the same time like ready to jump, like a Black Panther ready to pounce.
Of course, you know, on a car like this, you gotta have it low. So that's what we did. All custom air suspension on it, set all the way on the ground. That just makes this car. Check out underneath the hood.
All right, let's take a look at the motor. Oh my God, that is incredible. Wow.
Right?
Fantastic. Beautiful.
Late model 5.0. You got about 450 horsepower under the hood now. This thing will get it.
Can't wait to get behind the wheel and try it out for myself.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you like this. I know you kind of already seen it, but check out the interior.
All right, let's go look at the interior. That is awesome.
This is one of the most important aspects of the car itself. When, you know, there's no roof, that's one of the first things you come up and look at. You know, John and the guys, I mean, look. They
did an amazing job. It's incredible.
And you can see it looks really, really clean. They put wood in all the door panels, wood accents all throughout, and then painted it all white. So it looks like something that would have came in this car back in the 60s.
Yep. The interior of this car is incredible. The white finishes with the piping on the seats, the white washed wood, it's just clean and perfect. Blew me out of the water. You not only met my expectations, you so far exceeded them, I can hardly find the words to describe.
Each and every person in the shop helped out with this project. You know, I can't thank them enough.
Woo! That is awesome.
This car looks amazing now.
Bill, this is so cool. I love it. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Fantastic.
You're very well. Everything.
Free reign to do extensive chassis, big wheels, big brakes, big motor, full interior.
Do it all.
Now we have room for activity.
1923 Sea Bucket. See the movement there.
Freeze out cruising, turns a corner, and the rear end breaks loose. You're lucky to be here.
Oh, this is beautiful, man.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. From Mario, first-time potential customer to come by and check out his 85 Chevy. We'll see what he's got. What's happening, Mario?
Not much, man. How are you?
Hey, good morning, man.
All right.
Good morning. This it, huh?
That's it, yeah.
85?
85.
The 85 C10, you know, I love these trucks. I'm a little biased on these because I had one of these in high school. This was my first truck. You know, this truck is what I started messing with. I started learning how to customize on this body style right here. This thing looks like it's in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it runs good, but I think it's gonna run better when you build it.
So what do you want to do with this thing? Lift it?
I want to slam it on the floor.
Definitely want it on the ground, huh?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. These things look so good low to the ground. As far as new engine, interior, everything,
New everything. Frame, paint, engine.
You just want something custom.
Yes, sir.
And I like that.
Yeah.
We can build you a full custom chassis, you know, wide 24 by 15s on the back of this.
Okay.
24 by 10s on the front. Lower this thing really low on a nice new custom frame.
Okay.
Just a total showstopper.
Okay.
You have any color preference in mind? I see you have the orange trucks.
Yeah, my orange trucks, that's what I want.
I see. You want this thing orange, so when you pull up at the job site, everybody knows El Jefe's here in the orange truck.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Heck yeah, this thing looks
350.
Man, Mario, so just chunk this. Just start with a brand new and something with a whole lot of power. We'll shave the firewall, come up with some nice, cool custom panels in this thing.
Okay.
Really, when you pop the hood, you just get that wow factor.
That's what I want.
Let's check out the interior of this thing.
The interior is nice.
Definitely can't have an orange truck with blue interior, so this has got to go.
Yeah, it's got to go.
The new headliner, new carpet,
Yeah,
new door panels will make this thing look good. In the bed of this thing, you're not going to be hauling anything to the job site.
No, sir.
Nothing like that. We'll build sheet metal panels all the way around this thing, smooth out the bed floor, and just bring the body color all inside thing to really make the inside of this bed look just as special as the outside and interior and the engine compartment. Long gone are the days just spraying a bed liner or just painting what's there. You got to come with it now. You got to create something totally unique and custom.
And what do you think about my logo for the diamond?
You got to have your diamonds.
Should we put a real one or just put like a paint one?
Man, that's up to you. You bring us a big diamond, we'll mount it in there.
Okay.
This truck brings me way back. I mean, when I was 16, my dad got me. This body style itself takes me back to driving around, listening to music real loud, and just starting to get the feel for customization. Thinking back in auto mechanics class, heating the coil springs, taking out leaf springs in the back, and just riding home with my truck super low to the ground. You know, my dad was really angry with me. It's amazing to even think about. And I can't wait to get into this thing, get it tore apart, and really get the creative juices flowing again and create something really cool and unique for the square body world. Every part of this truck is going to be custom, and it's going to be just like nothing you've ever seen before. Come on, Timmy.
Trip down memory lane or what?
Right.
This kind of remind you of getting in trouble a little bit when you were younger, huh?
A lot of it. There's a lot of C10s out there, a lot of the square bodies. You know, seems like everybody has one in the garage, so it's going to take a lot to really stand out. He just wants us to go big on this thing. You know, the first thing we need to do is tear this thing apart and just start from scratch.
Full chassis?
Full chassis, really low to the ground.
What's that turn them big old tires?
Mario.
So the bolt right here is normally this is all kind of rotten. It's kind of expected, but got some skills right here. So I put this tool to work.
And now we got it down, all the bottom's loose. Disconnect these two mounts, roll that over. So we're gonna start wrapping everything on top of the motor.
All right, let's lift it up.
Mario wants this truck sitting on the floor, and a custom chassis makes that possible. So I measured front to back and drew a sketch for Tim and Jamie to get going on.
Now this is the frame for that blue square body. You know, the square bodies always look good on the ground with a big tire at the back. You're a square body guy.
I love them.
You had a couple of them?
Yep. Okay, so I'll get everything ready at the saw, and we can get to cutting.
We're gonna lay the two frame rails on top of each other so we know exactly where they're cut. Now we got the pieces cut, they're beveled, ready to go together. The drawing on the table, we can line this up.
Bam, done. Now we can undo these clamps, go ahead and stand our frame up, start building it.
Now that the frame rails are built, we're going to get the right spacing. You know, the next step is just making everything lined up nice and parallel. You got 131 and 9/16. Nice and level. Gotta get my table level. We'll use this piece of 3-inch tubing to simulate the rear end itself, just so we're not manhandling the big rear end up here. Clamp it up here, get everything nice and square, and we'll just build the suspension right off of this. You know, the square body Chevy is the perfect candidate for a 2-link rear suspension. It's about 80% better than the factory leaf springs as far as body roll. You know, less moving parts, less problems you have way down the line. Man, John brought some tamales to work today. Tamales are a little cold, so I'm gonna throw this string over the heater duct. Keep the tamales up about 50 hands too.
What good stuff.
Man, the old frame looks good.
Man, that's a good thinking on the tamales too.
We finished the frame and rear suspension on the 85 C10 square body on the table. Now we're going to get up under the body and start making those mounts. All right, man, let's get this thing all nice and straight. A string line down to it, and then we start making some cab mounts, and we'll finish it over the front. Coming together, man. Once we got it level and we knew the foundation's 100% true, John's going to connect the frame to the front cross member.
What we're going to do is build a piece that connects from our under cab frame rail to our cross member. What we're going to do is transfer this shape to this 4x2 box tubing. And we'll slice the bottom and we're going to turn it into a 3x4 and it'll fit perfectly inside there. This piece I just cut out, you can see how it's wider on this end than it is over here. So once I cut the other side the exact same way, we're gonna get this edge. Now we should be right. Oh, look at that, look at that.
This 85 C10 just brings me back.
Now on with the grind, cuz.
I mean, no way we were at the level then as the level we are now, but with every craft, there's progression. And mine's been years and years in the making. And with all that experience, that means we can do it faster and better.
Man, that looks pretty good. Now we can continue off the front of the cross member to the front core support.
What y'all got, man? Good morning.
Good morning. Got a
Morning.
1923 T-Bucket here for you.
That's badass, man. It's fun to drive, huh?
That's a good fixture. Yes, it is. It's awesome.
This is a fiberglass replica of a 23 T-Bucket that comes in a kit. You know, there's not really many safety options, if you know what I mean.
It's got a 350 small block in it, putting out 400 horsepower.
That's nice in something that weighs what?
About 1,300 pounds.
Yeah, like a go-kart.
Yep.
You know, I see it's holding something together, huh?
Yeah. Well, I bought it a year ago on Halloween and finally took out for a nice ride. Took a turn, spun the rear end.
Man.
Crashed it right off.
That woke you up, huh?
Yep.
Let's see what you broke here.
Let's take a look at it. As you can see, the bungee cord here, holding up the suspension.
Oh, man.
And so, yeah, you can see the quite the movement there. Yeah.
Man, that is definitely not cool. Looking underneath this car, seeing what I'm seeing is unbelievable. He's lucky to be here with us today. Any kind of bracketry on suspension breaking like that, that's bad news. And if one breaks, there's no telling what else is going on underneath there. So what we'll need to do is get it on the lift and really inspect it, go through it, and make sure it's 100% safe for you so you don't have any more issues like this. This car is here for a specific repair, but you know, it just isn't going to be right just to fix it and put it out the door. We're going to go through it, make sure everything is 100% safe, and he's good to go on the road. Maybe when we're done, we'll heat these tires up and see if we can test these wheelie bars out.
I'm down for that.
Let's go do some paperwork.
You got it. Sounds good.
You know, a custom T-Bucket's just been around, I think, since the beginning of time. You know, these cars have been cool since they started customizing, and, you know, they're still cool today. You know, this car has the bare basics. You know, all you need is some parts and a little bit of skill. And in this case, very little skill. Because this car is built so simple, every component on it is very intricate and plays off another. And, you know, suspension brackets are one of those very important brackets that should never fail. You know, one of the worst things you can do is being broke down on the side of the road. You know, every custom car guy, that's happened to them. One of the most important things you need is that peace of mind in the back of your head to know that you're going down the road and you're going to be safe. We're going to get old Bill hooked up, and he'll be out cruising again before you know it. Usually doggy. What you think, man?
And one tire's a little further back than the other.
Needs a little alignment, huh?
More, a little bit.
Right? The guy that owns this, he went on a ride, man. He's out cruising, turns a corner, and all of a sudden the rear end breaks loose and spins him around.
Oh.
Yeah,
God, he wasn't going down the freeway at 70, 80 miles an hour.
Right. Right? Back when you were a kid, you were riding a go-kart, didn't have nothing. That's part of the fun of just holding on real tight and giving it gas, right? But he dodged a bullet on this one for sure. Timmy, the first thing we need to do is get it in the shop, get it up on the lift, and let's pull the axle out and just completely slick it. Let's cut all the old bracketry off so there won't be anything there that can fail later. We're going to start just totally fresh, make all new brackets, all out of 1/4 inch, make it super strong so there's nothing ever going to go wrong with this ever again. While it's up in the air, we'll inspect everything just to make sure it's 100%. Give him that peace of mind back. After a traumatic incident like that, that's going to be in the back of his brain. Like, oh my God, am I going to wreck again?
Anytime you feel any bump, it's going to be...
Yeah, it's going to be that way in the back of his head for a while, for sure.
Yeah. Basically, we're fixing something that should have been done right the first time that they just sold on the internet for somebody else to be their problem.
Job security. The only way to see how broken the bracketry is to take apart the rear suspension. So I asked David to do just that.
First piece off, 300 more. You can see how, look, they'll be driving down the road like that. Nice and neat. Yeah, I don't even have to do anything. This wasn't tight at all. More and more I'm under here, the more and more you see stuff that ain't right.
Look at this. This is not even, the weld is just breaking and cracking right here. It's horrible. If it wasn't just one bracket, it was going to be another one later. This is terrible. I've seen high school shop classes better than this. So what I want you to do, let's keep the caliper brackets. Okay. Let's keep the coilover brackets, and let's cut off the wheelie bar mounts. Just clean it all off. All right. Just cut right above the weld. I got you. That way we're not gouging down in it. Just cut the bracket totally off, and then you can come back and just wash the weld off. And a lot of people try to get side to side and do that, but you're gonna blow chunks out of the housing itself. So cool. Let's get this thing out and get to cutting. And that just goes to show you, when you buy a car online, don't just get in it and punch it, hold it to the floor, and just hope for the best. I mean, you really need somebody to look at it, inspect it, and make sure it's safe before you ride. I'm sure that 23T bucket looked good online, but man, we got to completely rebuild the brackets to make this drive straight. We got rid of all the old unsafe bracketry that was on here. The brackets for the coilovers, they're working fine. Just the welds are kind of iffy on it. Jimmy's beveling out the old welds and gonna weld right back over it. So that way we never have to worry about it again. Then we can get it out of the car, start building fresh. All the way in right there. That's the one that broke off. Yes. Bushings are just totally shot. You see the hole through there? And that might have led to the shift and the jarring of it, making it snap. To try to source that correct bushing, it's just going to take way more time than this is worth. So I think what we'll do is just make a whole new 4-link so there's no rubber bushings in it. It's all, solid swivel mount. So won't be any more play stopping and starting. Anytime we do multiples of anything like this, We always try to set up a jig so there's no mismeasuring, there's no mistakes. You know, once you have your measurements right the first time, they're going to be right every time.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this 1 1/4, 10.5 inches. That's going to be our upper link bars. Go ahead and cut the ends off so another square. Then I'll go ahead and grab my 10 inches, cut that, put it in the pipe cleaner, sand it, bring it back to Bill, start making link bars. So you can see I got my bungs welded in, got my heims in, now we got 2 identical link bars. Well, these are not going to wear out like the rubber bushings are. It's got a lot more pivot to it, just all out better bushing.
Up the front end on the 85 square body.
Next step is putting the motor in. We'll put the motor in. We got to have enough clearance for the transmission right at the cab. You don't want to pull the doors off, the front end off. Go this way. This gives me a lot of extra space and a lot of room to work. It's going to make everything go a whole lot faster and not having to climb in and be crinkled up. Check out these gems. You know, this tells you how far stereos have come over the years. Somebody in the 80s, this was something that was probably pretty loud. You go down the road and, oh man, check this out. It's been a good run, guys. Time to go. And now we have everything stripped down. Gives us plenty of room to get in here. We're going to need to cut this out because the new transmission running. We're probably going to need about 6 or 8 inches in here to clearance it and put the body all the way on the ground. Now we have room for activity. What we're doing now is we're going to clean up this whole firewall. We're going to get rid of all pocket. This pocket's to make the water drain off from the windshield. So I'm going to cut below the pocket so that it keeps all this weather tight, no water gets inside the cab.
As you can see, Timmy did a nice job of making all these holes. Now it's my turn to go back and fit them all back in. I need a panel on there so I can place the bulkhead fittings that go from outside the cab AC to inside the cab AC. Seems legit. Now we got this panel stuck in place, we can lay out a design of what we're going to bead roll on this panel. We got all the major components laid out. The brake booster, steering column, bulkhead fittings for the AC. Now that that's all in place, we can get into the artistic point of it and drawing out everywhere we want to bead roll these panels. First thing is to kind of lay out a border on the perimeter around the whole edge. That way we don't go beyond that. Now we could draw something in between it and connect it. Now we got our designs laid out, we could take it over to the bead roller and follow the rows on these lines and make some beads. Full throttle, baby. And cut the holes out. We want to keep these plates solid, so when we form it with the rolls, it doesn't over warp the panel more than it should. We have our pattern transferred to give it this 3D contour with the bead roller. Not only does it give it style, it makes it a lot stronger. Now I'm gonna move on to the second one and get these put back on the firewall. Now we got them done, clamp back in, looks symmetrical, that's what we want. Now they can get loaded in. Now we're about to pick this motor up, put it on the chassis. This big 6.0 LS is going to give this square body some get up and go. We got a heart in place.
C10, built frame and suspension all mounted, and now the guys are getting going on slicking the bed out.
Oh. We need to smooth all this out. The sides, the bed floor, the notch cover, the tubs, get all that 100%.
10 mark lines on every high part of the bed. And what we're gonna do is draw straight lines on this panel, and we're gonna drill holes. All those holes could get welded down to what's already here. That way this metal is bonded to this. That way if you're driving down the road, you won't have this making that rattling noise or anything, and it makes everything stronger because it's all tied in together.
All we're doing now is put some marks on here so we know where to grind the old paint off the bed.
It's paneling off all the inside of the bed, that way we don't have no open space. They'll all be smooth out.
All right, now we have the sheet in here. You can see the holes. It's shiny here, it's shiny on the bottom, which gives us a clean surface to weld to. Once we get all this welded in here, then we'll come back and we'll cut out where the tubs go. We'll put the notch cover. So when you look at this thing, it'll be a sheet metal tub, a sheet metal notch cover, a sheet metal tub, and all flat all the way around.
These 1923 T-Bucket kit cars are already missing a ton of safety features, but the rear end, it could have killed somebody. We're gonna rebuild this whole thing until I'm 100% sure it's safe to drive again.
The last thing I'm gonna do is add a cross member underneath there so we can come down and bring a bracket, hang on the outside of this bolt. This bolt supports every bit of the torque, power to the engine, right to the ground. I got the tab tacked into place. I'm going to pull this off, have the body guys prime it, and then put it back up. I've got the cross member all primed up. That way there's no rust back behind it. It's ready to weld it in. Last thing's paint after that. We color match all the revamped rear end right to Ford Racing Red. Good. Now we're going to reinstall the wheelie bars, the coilovers, and get these wheels back on the road.
That thing looks a lot better. Looks safe, and I bet
it's going to be way better now.
After a few unforeseen problems, redesigning, a little bit of fixing, it's finally time to give the T-Bucket back. What's happening, Ben?
How we doing, sir?
Man, doing good. Doing good. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Ben, I bet. Bill, when you came in, you had a really cool car with a huge problem.
That I know.
Well, we got it in the shop, went through everything. We're going to give you that trust back, that confidence of knowing when you hit the gas pedal, it's going to go straight down the road with no brackets breaking.
Nice, that's what I'm looking for.
Well, let's check it out.
You got it. I'm excited. Look at this, baby.
Back going again?
Love it.
Yeah, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
What you think, man? It's all nice and straight now?
Yeah, 1000% better. They really cleaned up that axle. It's freshly painted. It looks awesome. Can't wait to get it back on the road.
Everything's where it's supposed to be now and super strong. First thing we did is get it on the lift and just pull the rear end out, ratchet straps and all. And just slicked off all the wheelie bar brackets and the 4-link brackets. Pretty much just hit them with a hammer and new 4 links and the bracketry. And then we had my boy Victor chrome them for you. So it looks, like it did when it was originally built.
See a couple added extra supports up underneath there.
It really needed that. That was the weak point of the whole suspension. That transfers all the torque from the engine itself right down to the ground. All that was just hinging on one bolt. So we went in, made a little cross member, came down with another bracket, and it made it super strong for you. So
not gonna hit my left arm this time.
Ever gonna happen again. You can have all the confidence in the world that when you hit the gas now, everything's going to stay where it's supposed to be and shoot you straight down the street.
Oh, I can see it already.
We get a lot of projects through here, sometimes small, sometimes large, but in this case, very dangerous. This is the worst case scenario. Bracket breaking off the rear end. It could have caused just a major catastrophe. But now we got it all fixed. Well, Bill, we got to get your confidence back. That trust, right? So what better way to do that? Let's go for a cruise.
Let's do it.
You know, it's really satisfying to get the T-Bucket back out on the road safely. And, you know, it's become a tradition. Shame.
Since you're new guy at the shop, this is your christening right here. It's kind of leaning over one side, so I'm thinking we're going to go up on this side a little bit. Keep on going. You got to make a bird perch, man. Think about the birds. Nice piece, man.
All right. Boom goes the dynamite.
Nice. Welcome to the team, man.
Appreciate it, man. I'm glad to be a part of it, dude.
We smoothed the inside of the bed out with sheet metal, and we're putting in the new wheel tubs on the 85 C10.
There we go. We got 2 big old holes cut out for some big old wheel tubs for some big old wheels. What we're doing is making a shim so we could clamp the wheel tub to this bar and it'll be perfectly straight from side to side. Got these big old tubs in now. Now we could cap on the inside, get it all welded up.
Use a scribe that does a fine line. That's going to carry this radius 100%. So we cut it clean. We'll put it up here, we'll butt it. It gives a nice clean weld and it's a nice fitment. Now we have the bed sides, the bed floor, the wheel tubs, the tub fillers. Everything's tacked into place. It looks really good and it's time for a whole lot of welding.
14 3/4, 2 tons. John and Brian are making some killer sub boxes and kick panels.
So got the 85 square body C10 ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the subwoofer enclosure. With that, I'm going to try to keep it as small as possible. We're going to make 2 enclosures, tuck them into the corners.
Got my template made for my kick panels. Let's transfer this into some 1/4 inch, get my first base for my kick panel mounted up. Kick panel is down by where your foot is, where the emergency brake goes. These are big blank areas in this 85 Chevy, so we need to cover them up with something cool.
Next thing I got to do is take my 3/4 inch MDF that I'm using for the baffle, and I'm going to kerf it. That way I can get it to make that nice curve around the front of the box. Bendy wood. Get that nailed in and we'll get the hole cut.
So these little chunks, so that I can get it to roll with the curvature of this kick panel here. And we'll trim it all down, shape it, body work it all in.
So we got the holes cut out in the box. Kerf looks beautiful. All we gotta do now is close up the wedge on the top. We're ready to get it molded in and wrap it and send it out the door.
Mario, the owner of the C10, wants his diamond logo somewhere in the bed of this truck. So John's gonna head home and knock it out.
Just getting off of work, making my ride home, but the day ain't over yet. Got me a little bit of homework. Working in the type of business like I'm in, we don't have 9 to 5s. We have 9 to whenevers. I got a CNC at home that I love messing with and try to knock this out for the guys. So welcome to the beginnings of my man cave. Unfinished project. As you can see, I'm so busy with other projects that I can't finish my personal project. And over here, we got this big old 5x10 CNC machine. It's actually like a robotic router. I can do me a file on my computer, transfer it over computer. So this is our diamond. See all the facets. Now that we got this all drawn up, what we're gonna do is run this on a piece of cheap MDF that's 1/4 of the price of what the acrylic is. Because if it ain't right, we just wasted a couple $100 of material. Kind of hard to see all the facets in it, but they're there. So now we got a really good test item. Now I feel confident to cut the acrylic. 3, 2, 1. Ready, folks? Man, it's still heavy. Here we are with our finished product. It looks nice. This is gonna look really good in the bed of that C10.
We're done with the metalwork on the bed, so we're gonna move it over to body and paint. Everything's being painted in Mario's company color, orange.
Catch some attention with this color right here.
We went with the light tan color powder coat on the frame to contrast all that orange and match the interior perfectly. Get all the components done. This thing should be a roller pretty quickly. We officially got a rolling chassis. We're about to make it roll. Set it on the ground, get that engine on. One thing I've learned many years ago, no matter how long you work on a build, like the months and months on this 85 C10, the last little bit is always the hardest. But it also can be the most satisfying when it all comes together. I know Mario's gonna love this truck as soon as he sees it.
Now, when a lot of people say they work on cars, this is working on cars. I work to work on cars. I come home to work on cars. Hell, when I sleep, I'm probably still working on cars. My hands are probably still moving, turning wrenches. Up there we got a customer's car. That's a full total build from the ground up. Starting with the frame, suspension, engine swap, fully painted, full interior, everything brand new. Over there I got my other car, my 95 Cadillac Fleetwood. That used to be really, really nice until I had a little accident with it. This was one of my first candy paint jobs with all the graphics and metal flake and pinstripe and all that stuff that I personally done. You can see the interior panel there that holds all the speakers. That paint job just flows all the way into the car. It's a good friend of mine. We're installing a vintage air AC in it, power steering upgrade, brake upgrade, and while we're at it, we're putting a little bit of music in it for him. What can I say?
We put a lot of energy into Mario's truck. Huge transformation. There's no way he thinks this is the same truck. This has to be beyond any dream he's ever had of a custom truck. And now it's time for him to finally see it. Mario, what's happening?
How are you?
How you doing, man?
I'm okay.
Man, I know it's been a while, huh?
Yeah.
Man, Mario, a while back I came out to your place and, checked out your project that you wanted to get started on. The old square body truck. It definitely wasn't a showstopper by any means.
Yeah.
Right? But, we've been working on it for quite some time, and I think you're going to be very, very, very pleasantly surprised to see this truck, to see how far it's come. But, man, you ready to check it out?
I'm ready.
Let's go check it out.
All right, let's go. Oh, it's beautiful. Man, when that door opens, wow, it's a beautiful truck. I can't believe that truck came out so nice.
No more blue, huh?
No more blue, orange.
Mario wanted his truck to match the rest of his fleet. We went with a custom mix orange with a little bit of yellow pearl. It looks perfect. This brings me way, way back to my first truck, and that's just something that I just love. Once you set it down on the ground like that, it just makes people want to go over there and check it out, right?
Yeah.
You can't stop looking at it. And no matter where you look, every inch of this thing has been customized. On the square body, it's all about that wheel size and the stance and just the overall proportion. So the front, you got to have those 24x9s, and the rear, you got to have those 24x15s. Let's check out the interior.
Man, whoa, this is nice.
Gone is the old blue, right?
No more blue. No
Can't
more
have that. The color's been brought into the inside also with that tan saddle interior. We've replaced every single part and piece in here. They've custom built the enclosures for the kick panels and the sub enclosure. It just looks, not only custom, it's classy as well.
Yeah, I love the seats. I love the steering. I love the,
Check this out.
Oh, man. This is beautiful, man.
No more 305.
No more 305. This is nice, man.
This is a 6.2 LS. This thing has way, way more power than this truck needs.
Oh, my God. This is nice.
You see that it's a brand new chassis front to back. I mean, you can look down in the engine compartment and see all the custom parts and pieces that have been built, one off for this truck.
The way you guys did the chassis and everything, they match everything, man.
Right? The front end's all one piece now. And the firewall's all been color matched, smoothed out, bead rolled. It's a cool, cool truck. I got one more little surprise for you. It's in the back. I know you're gonna like this.
Whoa, that's beautiful, man.
Right? We had to incorporate your logo too. So there's no doubt whose truck this is. Even in the bed itself with John, Tim in the bed, just smoothing everything out, building the big wheel tubs, building the big notch cover. To get a truck this low, this is what you have to have. The wheels and tires take up that much space in the bed. It takes a whole team, a whole shop to build something like this. And that's something we're all proud of.
When I saw that diamond, oh my God. The whole truck, I mean,
Man, don't be taking this truck to the job site, man. I know that's what you wanted, man, but don't be taking this.
I want, man. I'm not going to put any concrete on it.
We're going to be the first ones to have a Pro-Charge 2021 Escalade.
Most people want to keep it as quiet as they can, not build. Hot rod sound of Escalade.
So this is a 46 Ford Coupe.
Recover the seat, little dash pad, be good. When I say everything, this is everything. I want to drop it all the way on the ground. The air suspension on it, late model 5.0 in this thing. It's a total surprise for Ryan's dad.
Total surprise. She looks really pretty.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
My old friend Ryan called me. He said he got a new project for us to do it. His family owns a company that builds and sells wreckers. In fact, his dad started the business back in the 70s. Ryan, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming out, Bill.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Got this project for you here.
These the ones you're talking about?
We're going to start with this one here.
What year is this thing?
So this is a 46 Ford Coupe, and my dad bought it back in 86 when he turned 40. Tore it apart about 15 years ago, and here we sit. Same spot.
Oh, man. I've heard this story a million times. A shop takes in the car, tears it apart, there it sits for years, and they never finish it.
I need somebody to put it back together. Yeah. Something special.
How old's your dad now?
74.
Does he know about this?
Knows nothing about this project. He does so much for everybody else in the community.
Yeah,
gives his shirt off his back. Doesn't do anything for himself, so it's time to give back.
Man, that's awesome. I'm in on it. I've never had one of these in the shop. It's going to be a first for us, but man, I've always admired these. Just looking at this car, it's going to be a cool car, but to have somebody, think of you the way Ryan's thinking of his dad, that's a cool gift.
Looking for something that he can drive to the show, not only just a trailer queen, but he can get down on the highway and do 80, cold AC.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. We'll make it something he can burn the tire. Lot of trophies.
That sounds good. This car used to be called Blue Thunder when he got it. You know how they used to nickname their cars.
Oh, yeah?
So we need to do something with that.
So it's got to be blue.
Yes, sir. Got to be blue. We're looking for a dark metallic blue that pops blue when the sun hits it. Looks a little darker at night.
This is a cool, iconic body style, but this thing's got to sit right. So we're going to start out by building air suspension on this thing to get it really, really low to the ground with the right wheels and tires and get that stance perfect. Man, what you got under the hood of this? Is there air?
Let me just show you.
Oh, man. We can't have nothing in here like this, man.
Got an old 350 Chevy in it, so that's wrong right off the bat.
I mean, that's definitely going to come out and just start fresh with the new 5.0 in this thing. Man, when he pushes on the gas pedal, man, he's going to be happy.
That's what we need. I can't wait for my father to have that smile on his face that he has for everybody else, but this time for himself.
Let's see what the interior looks like in there. Should I say lack thereof? Oh, yeah. Recover
over the seat, little dash pad, be good. No, man, there's nothing in here we can use.
You know, Bill, I know you got the outside all figured out and stuff. Then inside, take it to the next level.
Just taking it to the next level wouldn't be very hard on this interior. I want your old man to get this thing back, open the door, and sit down in here and just feel like he's 40 again. Because he might have a heart attack on this one.
But this will stop him taking those little blue pills, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, you won't need them no more after this, right?
We snuck you in while he's out at the races. Let me get it over to your place, and then we'll go from there. Sounds great.
Back rolling. I love that Ryan's giving something back to his dad. You know, not just anything, a custom 46 Ford. It's just that little extra that's going to make this cool old car even more badass. You know, most people see a car like this and go, man, look at that cool old car. But for me, when I see an old car like this, all I can think about is how many hours it's going to take to make this thing cool. You know, there's a lot of differences in customizing a new car versus an old car. A new car, you don't have to worry about lining up body panels. You don't have to worry about, you know, the hood latching correctly. I mean, you put wheels and tires, do your thing on it, slam the door, go about your business. So, you know, an old car, just the opposite. You have to address every single part on a car. There's going to be hours just getting the hinges lined up. There's going to be hours getting the window regulators working properly. There's going to be hours of just getting the window felt in. I mean, nobody ever sees you do this thing. There's only one thing to do. Quit talking about it and get to it.
Whoa! Has this thing always been back here?
You don't get out of the office much, do you?
No.
It's a total surprise for Ryan's dad.
It's a hell of a surprise.
Right? You know, I want to get this thing in the shop and blow it totally apart. We got to make this thing really low. I want to do air suspension on it. I want to put 20s on the front, 22s on the back, maybe a 22s on the front. I want to just kind of see how it looks. Once it's up on the lip, we'll see if there's anything underneath we can salvage.
Find out what's underneath all this.
Yeah, I'm really nervous, man. This thing, you can tell the bodywork's been done a long time ago, and there's a lot of it on here, so it's going to take a lot of work.
This thing's already got Blue Thunder on the back. Are you staying with blue on this?
It'd be sacrilegious to change that, right? You know, we got to bring old Blue Thunder into the 21st century. You know, this engine definitely ain't going to cut it. It's got a Chevy engine now. Don't want that. We're on a late model 5.0, 6-speed transmission, new wiring harness, pedal, column, radiator hoses. When I say everything, this is everything.
So for the interior, looks pretty complete. It's got an awesome seat in there.
I'm going to take this out. But everything other than that, you know, there's nothing there. So new bucket seats, bench seat in the back, of course, stereo equipment. Get with John, see what kind of equipment we need. Let's get it ordered. Get the carpet, get the headliner, get the window felt, window regulators, you know, one-piece side glass.
We're building the whole car, everything ground up, 100%.
Man, that's exactly what we're going to do. You know, this thing is going to require everybody in the shop. There's nothing on here that we're not going to handle.
There's a whole process after process on this. Let's call it Blue Process.
Let's get to the first process, getting this thing in, get to it.
Got it. Let's do it.
This car's been sitting around rusting for who knows how long. So we'll start by getting up on the lift just to see how long our to-do list is. Ooh, look at that. Had intentions of just doing suspension on this, but you know, after looking at this frame, it's got to go. Our transmission is going to be a lot bigger. It's a big 6-speed transmission, so it's way bigger. So we'd have to cut all this out to make room. The easiest thing to do is just get rid of this old frame and just go over to the just unbolt the body, get it off the blast, and we'll get the body shop guys busy for a while. Man, Timmy, we thought we were just going to be able to salvage this.
That's like demoing a whole house to build a new one, but leaving the cracked slab. You want a good foundation to start with. If not, it's just going to be problems down the road. Body separated from the chassis. We're going to roll the chassis out.
fixing the body to a body cart. We'll send this off to get media blasted, and we'll see how it looks when it comes back from media blast.
You know, I can really appreciate a surprise like Ryan's gonna do for his dad with this coupe. I surprised my wife Jennifer by customizing her cars a few times. I might have gone a little bit too big for her taste, but she's got a new truck, and I'm ready to try one more time.
Did you steal the wife's car?
Yeah. You know, I want to surprise her. You know, I want to do a couple things to it. You know, she calls it Betty, so I want to get Betty hooked up.
So is this going to be a little surprise, or one of your SEMA take her car, or taking the SEMA 2-week surprises?
And then I was like, oh, I'll just take it to the shop and fix a little dent on the back. And 2 weeks later, it was in Vegas at the SEMA show, totally repainted, full interior stereo. She wasn't too happy. Couldn't haul groceries in the back anymore, but I think we got to get it down on the ground.
I knew that. I knew it before you said it. I knew exactly what you were going to say.
I mean, look at that fender well gap there, man. That's way, way, way too big, right? We'll drop it down probably about 6 inches. You know, just a little bit, about 6 inches. You know, fill that up with a nice big wheel and tire. And, you know, we just can't have a 22, 24. We got to have a big wheel and tire, right?
Something to separate it from the rest, but still make it drivable. They didn't even have a kit to lower this?
Man, that's what we do. So we got an empty rack. We'll just pull it in, pull the wheels off, see what happens. I mean, we might even get it on there and just decide just to put air suspension on it and get it down really, really low.
That's the bill, I know. I don't know of a better way to say I love you and thank you than dropping her new Escalade to the ground, put some big wheels on it, and making her stand out.
That's an extensive way, right?
Yeah.
You know, good looking stance with the right wheel and tire, it just gives it that attitude, that aggressive classiness. Set her apart from, you know, all the other soccer moms, and it feels special the whole time she's driving it. You know, won't be another one like it. You know, she works hard every day, pretty much takes care of the kids, because we always work late, getting home late. We want to get her hooked up.
It definitely takes a lot to put up with what we do. It's a good call.
Yeah, she's been needing a little surprise lately.
She married you, she has to like surprises.
So what are we doing to Mom's truck?
You know, we're going to lift it really high. Just big 44s on it. You know, make it real easy for her to get in and out of.
Oh, yeah.
She'll love it. No, you know, I want to give her something that's cool, right? You know, back since the beginning of Extensive, I've always kind of experimented with my wife Jennifer's cars.
So is this going to be like Mom's last car? Or last surprise?
No. You know, I don't know what we're going to do yet. See how difficult this is. This is all new platform underneath. I heard it's independent rear suspension now, so we're about to find out. With her 2021 Escalade, I want it to be custom and cool. But, you know, maybe just a little more understated than I have in the past. You know, me and Jennifer have been together since before the beginning of Extensive Metal Works, so she's been around the car game just as long as I have. You know, as soon as Jennifer gets this back, she sees all the time and effort we put into it, how cool it looks. That's definitely going to put a smile on her face. You know, on the 2021 Escalade, it's been totally redesigned. This is 100% brand new, top to bottom, and it's unfamiliar territory for us. It's crazy how much cars have come in the last 5 years, 10 years, but, you know, that's part of it. This is definitely a learning experience, and, you know, you grow with the technology in a car, advancing with it every year. We want to stay up with the latest and greatest and be ahead of the curve.
What'd you figure out?
Just lowering springs, we got to change that out. You know, we'll put new coils on it so it just drops it down, gets rid of that big fender well gap, you know, with a nice wheel and tire. It's going to fill all that up and keep it all black too. Yeah, that's going to set the whole aggressive tone to it, right? Speaking of tone, muffler, you got to change that tone too. It's a 6.2 in this, and you can't really tell it any different from a Tahoe that's got a 5.3 in it. So there's restrictors and opens it up a little bit. You got to make it look good, got to make it sound good, and you got to make it run good. We need the Pro Charger.
Y'all are definitely two peas in a pod. Both of y'all want to go fast.
You know, there's nothing available for this. It's so new, so Justin will have to build whatever it needs in these little steps. Can't have the pontoon look, right? We got to get rid of those. Put the retractable steps on so it looks nice, clean, streamlined, low to the ground.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. When you first told me you're gonna surprise her, I was a little nervous myself because I've been a couple of these surprises and they go off the charts sometimes.
Sometimes. You know, most of the time I would really go for the full air suspension, lay it on the ground. But, you know, I want to make something that's perfect for her. So I have Tim and Dave changing out the springs.
First thing we're gonna do the Escalade is get the stance right. We're gonna take the struts out, put new springs on this thing. When we put it back together, it's gonna lower the vehicle but still give you the same ride. So this basically holds the truck up in the air and the shock dampens it. So when you hit a bump, it doesn't keep bouncing. By getting a new cool spring that's a little bit lower, it's gonna lower this down to say right about here somewhere. It should be about 1.5 to 2 inches lower.
What we're gonna be doing is if you don't have this specialty tool, you should probably not try and do this at all. It's pretty dangerous, you know, to be messing with something that's compressed and has a lot of pressure in it. We'll be able to loosen this nut up here and remove the shock. So the only thing we're going to be changing out is the spring to lower the ride height. We will reuse this and the boot. The only thing aftermarket should be just the spring.
Lowering springs for you, sir. You should bring it down a little bit, tighten up that wheel gap, make it sit right.
Now we gotta work on it.
Yeah, you do.
Later, bud. Later, bud. Gonna make it a little more sporty, bring it down just a little bit, but not enough that every time she goes over something, she's gotta hit a bump or she's gotta worry about rubbing it off. Springs mounted. We're gonna bolt them on the truck. One step closer.
And it's in bad a shape as we thought. Before the body shop guys get their hands full with the body, the owner wants us to get it all the way on the ground with a full custom air suspension. You know, it's part of the surprise for his dad. You know, it's exciting to get a new project in, a new frame started, and just to build somebody's dreams. Everything to starts with the frame. Let's see what we got here. 32. It's on the money. You know, it brings you back to being a little kid and building that first little model. I mean, that's basically what we do every day. Get to bring back our childhood memories of building all that cool stuff. But now we get to do it for real. We got our measurements here, 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 and that'll do it. So I got all the measurements I need. I'm gonna transfer them right on a drawing that we have on the table. I can see actually in real time how the frame's gonna look. And so there's no mistakes on mismeasuring. We're gonna go right off our templates, transfer them right to the saw, start chopping, start putting together. Got it, man. That's all laid out.
You know what the thing looks like? 46 Ford frame.
Rule of thumb here is cut everything in twos, two sides of the frame. So we're gonna make two cuts same time, so they're exactly the same. I guess the difference between building a custom frame and an OEM frame would be you could put things in different places for clearance issues. And definitely cool factors, you know, to make things different because of the tools. Now I got all the pieces cut and beveled. Now it's time to go ahead and start assembling this frame.
They're looking good, nice, square, level. This thing is going to be right. So now we're we're off to mocking up the suspension. You know, on the 46 Ford, we're going to build a 2-link suspension with air. You know, I prefer a 2-link suspension on a vehicle like this, just because you can, on this, we're shooting for about 11 inches of lift, so you get a lot of lift out of it with a really nice ride quality. And the other advantage of the 2-link is with it bolted super tight with the U-bolts, it doesn't allow it to sway like a 4-link suspension and have to compensate with sway bars. That's why we're going with a 2-link on this versus a 4-link or other types of suspension.
Just trying to make sure the front of the 2 links are even and equal, the same height. So I'm putting my flat bar right here, basically as a leg. So I'm going to go ahead and clamp it, and I'll be able to manipulate this height-wise. I need 9 7/8 on this side, so I'll be able to adjust this up to 9 7/8 on this side. It's a lot of measuring, a lot of looking across everything, make sure everything's parallel, everything's even. But taking all this time to do all that will pay off in the end because everything will be perfect. Everything's going to be straight and true. That's exactly what we're looking for.
As big as a frame build is, the interior in the coupe is non-existent. So John's starting from less than 0.
Yes, this car has absolutely no interior in it. I think when it came in, it had a folding chair maybe in it. That's actually kind of the fun of this. It is, with it being a blank canvas, there's nothing there that dictates what it has gone. So we get to pick where everything's at and place things where we want it and do our own design in it. I've got a template for my kick panel, a template for the door panel, and for the rear quarter panel. Everything's marked off where they line up together in the car so that everything has the same height that I need, so I can sketch this out to get all my patterns laid out so that everything will fit. Bill's thought and his idea is he wants Dad to get in his car and sit down and feel like he's still in his old hot rod. He doesn't want anything too new and too outlandish in this. He wants nice, clean, subtle lines in this. We want to get this thing just a nice, clean, classy feel so when he sits in it, he can feel like he's back in the old days. It's kind of one of those great things working around here. A lot of times we're just given free will to do whatever we want. So to be able to sit down and think it out and dream up something just different than everybody else's is really what makes this job so much fun. All the way from the beginning aspect, all the way to the headaches that you have, all the way to the end of it until it's finished. Every bit of it makes it fun because you get to design everything from your own ideas and your own perspectives. Erase, delete. Good thing about these sketches is it's all fluid, so it's constantly changing, so you're never stuck to one thing if you got an eraser. And that's going to be a tall ridge here. So this is our insert fabric that we're going to use just for our accent color. That's going to be going here in our doors and also here. Plus we'll have it worked into the seats, so it's just that little extra pop just so it's not all the same fabric in the whole car. So now it's time to bring Blue Thunder back to life. We got the stance on my wife's 21 Escalade just right. Now I want to give it a better overall tone.
Bill wants to get rid of this stock muffler. It works from the factory. Most people want to keep it as quiet as they can. Not Bill. It doesn't have the rumble he's looking for. The record. You know, this new muffler flows a lot better than the factory does. You get a little throatier sound. Jennifer's going to love it. What school teacher wouldn't love pulling up your parking lot a hot rod sounding Escalade? So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and tack this first one. That way I can make sure it's square with the frame this way. And then I'll know, not only do I need this to go over, I also need it to come down. So it's got to be like a 45 down and 45 over to one direction. Basically what I'm doing right now is trying to figure out a little jig so I know how to bend it. So I don't have to make 52 trips to the truck and back. I can just make me a little deal here. So I measure from this line down is 2 inches. So if I take 2 inches out of this right here, it should give me exactly what I need. According to the jig, this should flow exactly where I need it and give me exact angle this way and this way. When it fits good, now we do is weld it up. Bill's wife's got a brand new sports car sounding Escalade.
My wife's a little like me. She likes to give her vehicles a little extra horsepower. So I asked Justin to add a Pro Charger. Because this truck is so new, he's going to have to figure out the whole setup.
It's pretty neat that we're going to be the first ones to have a Pro Charge 2021 Escalade. Like, nobody's worked on one of these. Like, they don't make a kit out for it yet, so we're going to come up with we should see anywhere between 150 to 200 extra rear wheel horsepower on this thing once we get it tuned. We're going to try to squeeze the intercooler through here without removing the grill. So this one here is their what you would call like a stage 2 intercooler. So if you look at the thickness of the core, it's about a ½ inch wider than the one that would come in your base model kit. This one here is going to provide a lot better cooling for the extra air we're about to shove in this motor. We're running into clearance issues, these air louvers right here. So since it's such a large intercooler and such a tight space, to be on the safe side, instead of trying to force it in there, we're going to go ahead and remove the bumper and remove the support so that we can just drop it right into place. With this being a 2021, it's the first time pulling one of these bumpers off, so it can be a little time consuming. You know, you don't want to get in a hurry. You want to make sure that, you know, you get all the hardware out. You know, it's easy to, you know, miss a bolt here and there. And the last thing you want to do is piss off Bill's wife. So we need to make sure that we take our time and do it right the first time. There we go.
Just to fit the brackets on the supercharger. It's taking a bit more work, but it'll all be worth it in the end.
So that's what happens when you're dealing with a new vehicle. Something, you know, seems as simple as taking a bumper off can eat up most of your time. So this here is our supercharger. It's the P1X, their high output version. So now that we have the blower installed, all we got to do is connect from our blower to our intercooler, from our intercooler to our throttle body. So the reason we use the rubber couplers instead of everything hardline is because you have vibrations of the motor, and whenever it torques over, it'll want to move. So you need to have movement. So that's why we're going with all these rubber couplers. So right now we're putting the belt on. We're trying to adjust the tensioner to make sure that we have the most amount of tension, but also where the tensioner is within range, because you don't want it maxed out where it's too tight, where the tensioner is not doing its job, and at the same time you don't want it too loose. So we're just fine tuning it right now to make sure we have it set right. Next step is to get our fan shroud back in. Once our fan shroud goes back in, then we get to start doing some of the custom piping and getting this thing wrapped up.
We have the rear suspension on the coupe all mocked up. Now we can make the custom bag mounts.
Let's block it back up. Even something just as simple as a gusset for the upper bag mount. I mean, somebody just looking at it just looks like a piece of pipe, but you got to take into consideration where the shock's going to be, where the differential's going to be, where the air fitting's going to be. You want to make sure it's right. You want to take your time to notch it right, cope it right, sand it right, and attach it right.
Done dilly. On this particular chassis, we're going to use a diagonal link, which mounts a fixed point of the frame over to the moving part of the suspension itself, and it keeps everything 100% true all the way up, all the way down. There's no deflection of that whatsoever. We're able to build that into this suspension because there's nothing in the way. A lot of the times there'll be a gas tank in the way or exhaust in the way, or a lot of things could be in the way once you're building a suspension around something that's already there. The advantage of this is it's going to stay nice, true, straight up and down, and perfect. Back in 46, these coupes didn't have much of a speaker system. So John's going to bring the audio into this century, but he's also going to keep it with his classic look.
It didn't have subwoofers in 46, so what we're going to do is actually take and disguise that subwoofer. So basically when you pop the trunk and look in, all you'll see sitting there is a suitcase and think it's a piece of luggage. You'll never even know that it's a subwoofer. For the corners of the suitcase, I want them to be rounded, so in order to do that, I'm going to take the PVC and cut it into quarters. That way I can use those as the corners of the box and then just glass them from the inside. It's kind of like making oatmeal. Put a little water in your bowl, a little bit of oatmeal in there, stir it up. You don't want your oatmeal too lumpy. Martha Stewart, eat your heart out. All we're doing with this is just reinforcing our PVC corners. So the first step we're going to take to make this thing look like a suitcase, we're going to use a scoop bit. We're going to run around the outside edge of the top, a little bit on the bottom, nice rounded over corner, we can do the body work. Take this fiberglass filler here, hit my outside corners, get them smoothed in. Just got to give these corners a little bit of love, get good round and smooth. Next thing we'll do, cut some lines in this, put some grooves in it. Don't mess it up. Really got to take our time to make sure we don't screw this up. And it could turn into a whole remake, and ain't nobody got time for that. I have confidence in myself. Oh God, I moved it. We'll also have to add a groove to the top edge and the bottom edge for all the material to roll into. So we're just going to take and work our way around the box, rolling it and flipping it to get our groove in it. All right, now we've got all the grooves cut in it. This thing's really starting to look like a suitcase. So the next thing I gotta do, just sit down, do a little bit of detail sanding on it. This thing will be ready to wrap.
Custom frame and suspension for the 46 Ford on the table. Now it's time to get it up underneath the body. Thunder's coming along. I mean, it's really starting to take shape. We got all the old yuckiness out. So from the firewall back, 100% true square straight. But I found the easiest way to build chassis like this is locating the front cross member. Once that's located, you know the height you want, that locates our wheelbase.
Well, 141 and 3/4 or 16 too far.
Hammer's right there. That's it. So we have this dead center of the fender wells. Now that we have our front end on, we know where that center is. Next step is just connecting the cross member all the way down the frame. This car is going to run unbelievable, ride really good, and really low. It's at the perfect stage to really start creating. You know, normally we know exactly what we need to install the Pro Charger, but with the 21 Escalade being so new, Justin has to reinvent the entire wheel on this one.
So with the supercharger, we're gonna have pressure inside the pipe, and the last thing we wanna do is we're putting a bead roll on the end of the pipe so that the silicone coupler, whenever we clamp it, doesn't wanna slide off under boost. This is the flange for the blow-off valve. Typically, it would tie back into the inlet pipe to the supercharger. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna vent it to the atmosphere so we got that cool swishing sound. Now we got our 3.5-inch aluminum prep. We got our hole drill for our mass airflow sensor flange. The mass air and the O2 sensors work together, so if we dump off any air to the atmosphere, throw off our O2 sensors and the computer won't read right. So now that we have our blow-off valve flange on, our mass air flange on, and our extension piece that goes into our coupler, now we can go install it on the vehicle. Go ahead and pre-install our new blow-off valve. They actually sound better on supercharged cars. Because on a turbo car, they only open up under like acceleration. On a supercharged car, it's the opposite. It's open all the time until you give it gas, and then it'll close. And that's how you kind of hear more of that swishing sound. So now that we got the flange welded on, we got the 2 screws to hold in our sensor into our piping, just like we wanted. We can install our charge pipe and put some clamps on, and Life's definitely gonna have the fastest SUV in the faculty parking lot now.
The best days at work are always with a dog. If I do set up a table for me, and this guy happens to use it for a bed, I'll put my stuff on the floor. You should just lay there and do nothing. I gotta go work. Look at this 2021 Escalade in the shop. It's already a good looking truck. It was good looking off the factory floor. But Bill being Bill, it always needs something. These steps just aren't gonna cut it. So he wants a retractable step. When you open the door, it folds down. When you shut the door, this will tuck back up, fold away, and you'll never see the step at all. It's gonna make it look sleek, and it gives it a custom touch. First step we're gonna do, just unbolt the old step, take it completely off, get it out of the way, and then we'll start with the new one. This motor here will go to a door pan. When the door opens, it lets us know this needs to come down. When the door shuts, it retracts this back up. See how hands-on my helper is? That's a good helper right there. The new plastics have a little indentation right here, so when this folds up, it tucks right in tight and it makes it disappear. Now we have the plastics on there that allow the step to go up and it'll fold right with the new plastic. It looks better, it functions better, and it's easier for little ones or old ones to get in and out.
You know, I'd be lying if I wasn't a little nervous to see what Jennifer thinks. But I think this time, we nailed it. You know, her Escalade's still classy, but custom, just the way she likes it. You know, well, I hope. As you know, I got a long history of customizing cars, and something you might not know, I have a long history of customizing my wife's cars too. The thing I got her was a Cadillac SRX. Took it to the Las Vegas SEMA show and killed it. The bad part about it was getting it home. It had so many speakers, there was no place to put the groceries, so she hated it. Every time I cut into one of my wife's cars, I always have the best intentions. I always want riding around in. You know, that's the feeling I get when I drive around in a cool car. I want her to have that same feeling. And my wife driving a totally bone stock car, it hurts. It hurts seeing that. It's kind of like, you know, if I was a roofer, my roof was leaking, that's something you just can't have. You know, I've been known to maybe go a little overboard here and there, but you know, one of these days I'm gonna come up with that perfect combination for her that she's just gonna totally love. Thank you for lunch.
No problem.
Thank you. Hey, I want to tell you something. Remember, you know, I took the Cadillac in, had a recall, and I took it from you. It didn't really have a recall. I want to surprise you with something special. So I took Betty and I've done a couple things to her to make her stand out.
Like?
Well, you're about to see. You ready? You excited?
No.
Timmy's gonna bring it around right now.
This is not the first time that Bill's taken one of my cars. We've had some cars where he has taken them and he's done things to them and they have not turned out well. That's a little stressful for me. Okay, so not so bad. I'm very proud. I appreciate you listening. It looks awesome.
Surprise!
Yeah, no. Beautiful.
Are you pleasantly surprised?
I'm pleasantly surprised. Thank you. Pleasantly surprised. She looks beautiful.
So I did good?
So far. I don't know. There might be more. I don't know. From what I can see right here, yes.
There's a little more.
She rides the same.
Better.
You know, the first thing you notice when coming down the road, you know, Betty just looked way too tall. So what we had to do is get it in the shop, and we changed out the springs. You know, took it all apart, took the cool springs out and replaced it with the shorter spring to give it that low stance, to get rid of that fender well gap. And, I mean, you got it all blacked out already. You had to have the black wheels.
Of course. Now, if I had to pick wheels, that would be something that I would pick. They're very clean, very pretty, very nice.
Yeah. And it's still going to retain that factory Cadillac ride. Classy.
Oh, the runners. Oh, I knew you were
Classy.
doing it. It looks beautiful. It looks beautiful.
Can't have that old pontoon look, just to give it that clean, streamlined look.
I'm gonna cry.
You know, after 28 years together, you know, every once in a while you got to show your appreciation, right? And you show your appreciation in giving your wife something really cool to drive.
You did good. You did good. I will never say it again.
I was surprised as you were when Bill said, nope, we're going to go just a couple mods on this one.
They haven't always turned out as well.
Let's check out under the hood. I got a little surprise under there for you.
Okay. Oh, wow.
You know, they don't make a kit for this. So Justin adapted everything and made the whole Pro Charger work on this.
So all this is custom.
Yep, every bit. It runs real good.
It's very nice.
You're about 620 horsepower now. So Betty is going to get it. You're definitely going to make up some time and have plenty of extra leisure time now.
Cool.
I knew you were going to love it.
Yep, it's awesome. It sounded pretty.
Yeah, it sounds good. It had a little whistle to it. You needed that. Just way too quiet from the factory. I mean, looking at it, it's got to have a little deeper tone to the exhaust, so you get that whole attitude. When you roll up...
Oh, she's definitely going to draw some attention.
Most definitely.
It's nice.
I'm glad you like it. I think we did good. If she was making this car herself, I think we gave her exactly what she...
This is really nice. You did a great job, and I'm very flattered. And all the other teachers are going to be really jealous. Beautiful.
Just like you.
Oh, my gosh.
Is a 2017 F-150 pull-out with this engine. The 5.0 Coyote is a great platform for making a lot of power. We're going to change a couple things. We're going to change intake, put headers on it, and with the tune and E85, it should make about an extra 100 rear-wheel horsepower. So this thing's going to make plenty of power for old Coop. How do you start stretching every day, all day? On the really big jobs like the 46 Coupe, you just know it's going to be a marathon.
So we're stripping down the engine, taking all the old stuff off, stuff we're not going to use.
Every step you take, there's 100 more to go. We like to recycle. Just like going to pick up old dogs, we get old motors. We got a good steering. Next step's finishing up the front suspension. Keep going on the bodywork and make that interior all from scratch. But man, once Ryan's dad sees Old Blue Thunder, this is...
Now it's time to put some new metal back in this thing.
I don't know if we ever worked on an MG here before. Whose car is this?
Some guy named John Cena.
There's a whole community that lives and breathes these cars. And there's going to be all eyes on this when we're done. The all-tube custom buggy is a huge job. This is going to make some power. 1,500 horsepower and about 2,000 foot-pounds of torque.
It's going to be a rocket.
Definitely going to bring my helmet.
You're definitely going to need your helmet.
No riding with you.
Man, it's cool when it always comes together.
That can't be mine.
Whoa, look at there.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, ever
ever since Extensive started. You know, trying to get jobs in the door. Somebody had a crazy idea. Cool, bring it on. I'll figure it out. You know, I didn't tell them I would figure it out. Man, no problem at all. But, you know, getting into the job, you know, you have that little anxiety of, man, I'm not real sure what to do. But, you know I can figure it out. You know, no matter how big the job is, how small the job is, we get in and we get it figured out every time. Here, cut my truck in half and make it a little longer. No problem at all. We'll figure it out. You know, here we are, 23 years later. We're still saying yes to all the jobs, no matter how big, how small. You know, that's exactly why I get at the shop every morning early. Morning. You know, getting the guys going, getting parts coming, trying to coordinate is super tough. So getting to work early is absolutely what it takes to keep building the business, to keep getting cars in and out. That's the name of the game.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if we ever worked on the MG here before, but
what's your first?
I'm always up for it. The MGC was only produced 1967 to 1969. There wasn't that many of them even made, let alone still around to customize. Extensive isn't real big into the British motoring scene, but, you know, I guess somebody wants to customize this. I'm in. Whose car is this?
Some guy named John Cena.
Surely not the John Cena, right? I mean, look at this car. That's a big old dude to have a little car, so it can't be. Can't be. You know, it'd suck to have the same name as a famous guy, right?
I mean, until you go get a dinner reservation.
Well, I guess you get a pretty good table, huh?
Yeah, until you show up.
Right? So you don't have any idea what we're doing, anything?
Nope. I'm going to text you this information. You can take care of it.
Yeah, text me all that, man. I'll get in touch with them, see what we're doing to it. You know, I could look around this car all day and, you know, just have a bunch of ideas. But until I actually talk to the owner, John Cena, once I talk to him, get a game plan nailed down, we'll kind of go from there. It's just point, we don't even have an empty bay for this build. So before we even think about getting going, we got to finish up old Blue Thunder, the 46 Ford Coupe.
How's everything with the coupe out there?
You know, that's a big project, right? Big.
Yeah.
A long, drawn-out process. You know, getting the body to where it's at now just has taken months and months.
Oh, yeah, that thing was beat up.
It was definitely beat up. You know, after decades of collecting dust in the garage, my Northside neighbor Ryan wants to surprise his dad by having us customize his 46 Ford to make it one of one. We made good headway. You know, the body work's mainly all done on the outside of the car, which is really saying something. That's a lot of work on that whole car. Ton. The floor's in. We got a long way to go still. We got to build the running boards, firewall. We need to finish the front suspension. That way we can get the frame off to powder coat. We can get the body on a cart, and they can start doing the final body work and pick a color and make old Blue Thunder come back to life.
The color's gonna be blue.
I mean, it's still Blue Thunder. Right? If it was named back in the 80s and
it's been his name.
Yeah. You know, it's our first time working on a 46, but it ain't our first time building a cool car, that's for sure.
Or the last.
Damn, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully my sons do that for me one day. Who knows? These days it's getting a lot harder just to find the parts. A lot of the times it's just easier, sometimes faster, just to make them ourselves. So John's gonna make those new running boards.
The car from the factory came with running boards, and because we don't have none, it needs something there between the front and rear fender. It looks like something's missing. So I'm gonna go ahead and create some from scratch, make this car look right. We have nothing to work with, so I'm figuring it out as I go. Started with the sheet metal, it's gonna bolt up under the cab, and then I'll get my outside contour once this is all bolted up under there. There's really no science to this. I'm just giving this bar a slight curve. I don't want it to be overbent where it looks like a big bubble coming out of the side of the car. And I don't want it too straight where it looks flat. We got to get the same curve almost to what the body has to it, so it looks like it fits that car perfectly. That looks good. Now all I got to do is cut the ends off to match the contour of the fender. Damn, son. Now with the tubing laying on top of the panel, I marked me a line with the edge. What I'm going to do is trim that panel off. And that bar will go underneath it. I got the top panel all clamped down to the sidebar. I'm gonna tack it all in place. Flip it over, add some cross sections in there. So when this gets bolted up to the cap, the bolt's gonna go through these and the sheet metal to make everything stronger. All right, I got everything in place, tacked in. Now I'm gonna get this under there and that should fit in there nice and snug. Just right. Got a little bit more welding to do. We'll be good to go.
You know, there was nothing, absolutely nothing inside the coupe before we started. So John and his team are getting it done, some really badass custom door panels.
That's a big panel. I didn't think it was this big, so I tried to get it out of the car. I got everything mudded up in place, so all we gotta do now is just sit here and sand and sand and sand.
A lot of sanding.
Hey, at least we won't sand alone.
No, we got each other's.
Yes.
Gonna share the pain.
This next thing we'll do is just take some 36 grit, knock down all the high spots and everything. That way when we go to run our tools across it, don't have to worry about our spreaders getting snagged up or anything.
Go work on the other panel while you get your shape in.
Okay. With the size and the quality of the builds we're doing, wow. And she brings a different set of skills I really thought we could use.
I actually started my professional model making career working as a subcontractor for NASA. So I was doing little plastic scale models and doing full-size module mock-ups to train astronauts. I have had a still model of mine in space.
Put a little cheese on it, and we mix. So as you can see, we've got everything molded together from the rear quarter all the way into the door panel. Everything's got good curves, lines, everything's molded out real nicely. We've got our details in it that we were after. So all this is done. All we have left to do now is get it wrapped up and get it in the car.
You know, the body was in bad shape, a lot of it way beyond repair. So Jamie and John are fabricating some of the last minute work.
Okay, so you can see that firewall's got way too many holes. It's old, it's nasty. Now it's time to put some new metal back in this thing. Okay, so I got pretty clean cuts on the old firewall. So I'm gonna use this as a template now. Pretty happy with that. Make quick work. Think you can bead roll these panels for me real quick?
I got you. I'm gonna get this transferred over to some sheet metal. Get bead rolled and get this firewall placed back in the coupe. I'm gonna go in here and lay out some designs, kind of mimic the front end of this coupe, how the grill slats are horizontally. Then I'm gonna do that same concept here on the firewall. So what I'm doing is I'm staggering the edge of what I'm gonna bead roll, so the top one's gonna be narrower, the next one down is gonna be a little wider, so they're not just all ending up and down in the same straight line. So they're gonna kind of grow as they go down, just like the way the grill does on the front of the car. All right, man, I think it'll look good. Go ahead and bead roll this. Slow and steady and keeping your eyes on the line. That's the winning ticket. The cool thing about the custom car world is all this cool stuff we make here is done by hand, by eyesight, by the feel and touch. It's not a big old giant machine that's stamping out a piece of metal. This is tailored to that specific vehicle. That's custom, and that's what I love to do. Using the flat edge of this hammer, and I'm making all the corners pointy because you cannot get perfectly sharp corner with a round bead roll wheel. Now we got this all done, trimmed out. We're gonna take this handmade piece over to the coupe, get it tacked in place, and we'll have us a fresh custom firewall.
wants to surprise his dad with a custom 46 Ford with a one-of-a-kind design to match its classic look. And that's exactly the balance John's trying to hit with that center console.
Got a pretty cool idea for a design for the center console for the 46 Ford. I'm going to kind of try to mimic the hood a little bit at the front of the console. So we're going to do a little stack fab. I'm going to first start with making my template. So what I'll do is I fold it in half. That way I can get a mirror image to the other side. That transfers the arch that I made on one side to the other so that both sides will be symmetrical. So now everything's drawn out. All I have to do is finish cutting it out and we got our template. Now that we got our template made, we're ready to rock. So now we'll just take this, transfer this into some MDF, start stacking where it needs to be, and get it in the car. Just like that. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to do a layout here so that I can rough cut all my pieces. Grab my jigsaw, cut them out. Sit over to the router, stack them up, spread a little cheese. Okie dokie. Hey, Jen. You got some pieces?
I got some triangles. So these are coming from the transmission tunnel.
Yeah, just to give us our simulated angle that we're after here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take this piece of signboard and use that as a barrier between the two. So once it's all in place, we're gonna pack the inside edges with fiberglass. All right, everything's glassed up. Once it's dry, we can actually start carving on this. Once we get it all shaped out, then we can go back to the car and get it molded into the floor.
Part of never saying no is not saying no to my own crazy offer. And the latest is the all-tube custom buggy that we're going to build from scratch. All we have now is 58-inch tires and military-grade axles. But we're also going to need a lot of power. What's up, fellas?
What's happening, man?
How you doing, man? Man, what do you got, man? I thought you were bringing me an engine.
Well, we did.
See, engine parts.
Exactly. We're gonna put it together here, man.
Cool. Is it gonna make some power?
1,500 horsepower and about 2,000 foot-pounds of torque, a little over that. This thing's gonna make some power.
That's what I want, because I'm building this, full tube chassis buggy, and I want something that it will get it.
So you're gonna put a 1,500 horsepower Cummins in a tube chassis. How much is this thing gonna weigh?
Probably 2,500 pounds, maybe.
So 2,500 pounds, 1,500 horsepower, 2,200 foot-pounds of torque. It's gonna be a rocket.
That's exactly what I want.
You're gonna let me drive it, right? There's so many things you have to do when you take an engine that runs 3,000 RPMs and take it to 6,000 RPMs to make it stay together. The factory valve spring doesn't have high RPMs. With the bigger cam that we're going to run in here, we got these right here. They have a lot more travel there. We can push it in farther, doesn't break the spring, and we can spin this thing to the moon, have an awesome time with it, make a lot of power. So what we have here is the factory freeze plug. With all the power we're going to be pushing to it, it'll just blow these right out. It'll send them through the moon. These we thread into the head, so it actually screws in, so we can spin as much RPM and as much power we want to it. Just get these last few done, and then we're going to start assembling the engine. Yes, sir. So in order to handle all the RPMs and the load, we're going to have to add these billet tappets in there. These tappets are, twice as strong as the factory cast tappet. With these in there and the billet cam, we'll be able to spin this thing as high as we want with no issues.
Got it? So the crank we're using right here is a factory 6-7 crank that has been polished and balanced. It spins really good. We're fixing to install the lower main cap bearings and main caps, torque it down, check everything, and then we'll start putting the front cover on and installing the cam.
All right, we got a custom spec cam here for our 6.8 liter Cummins. So what you see here The tappets we put in earlier, they ride on this right here and they go up and they go down. So with this cam here, it actually has a lot more lift on these, so you get more air in and out. That lowers cylinder pressures and able to spin more without a restriction in the cylinder. Now that we got our cam in, we're going to put our billet retainer on. What this does is, we have all these gears moving around in here. These things like to walk off the camshaft. So what this does, goes on here, has a bolt in there, and that keeps the cam gear from walking off the cam.
Such a little simple fix can keep you from
save you thousands of dollars, man. Like a lot of money. Dad's got the ring size to each cylinder. Dad's going to push this in the cylinder here with this ring compressor, and Clay's going to put the rod caps on. We're going to do that 6 times.
Now that we got the rotating assembly in, I always like to turn them over with a pry bar to make sure that we don't have anything binding up. Everything spins freely. This one does spin like butter. We ought to be able to turn 6,000 RPMs out of this, no problem.
Easy, easy, easy. Beautiful.
The Wells family did a great job building a lot of horsepower in the engine, about 1,500 horsepower. Man, I think we're going to put all this power in the back. All the monster trucks have that stuff for the weight distribution. They jump super good with all that weight, a little more equalized.
Okay, stay right there a minute. Get that stand right there.
Oh man, that's 1,500 horsepower, man. That's gonna be a lot for this buggy.
That's crazy. I've never had a diesel with any kind of power like that ever.
So torquey too, man.
Sure, I'm gonna get some calls of somebody wanting me to pull them out of the mud.
Man, if you don't get any calls, you didn't do it right.
We'll build stands for the engine, and then we'll figure out the wheelbase, and we'll be ready to start building. The all-tube custom buggy is a huge job, because all we got at this point is just a few parts. Everything else we need to make.
This thing has a ton of challenges, a ton of styling challenges.
What do you call it? The pre-motor mount?
Thing is heavy. It's a diesel. You got your transmission and a transfer case. This thing. There's a lot of weight right here, so I want to make sure it's supported good.
And just making everything go together challenges. The next step on this is finding the wheelbase. There's no specific way to do that. There's no calculation, okay, for this buggy, you need this wheelbase. There's no such thing. Let's get the jack stand a little bit forward. Yeah. So you just kind of go by the feel. You got to picture in your mind how the suspension is going to look before it's even there. The front axle is in a pretty good spot. The back seat, there's plenty of room there. And we got to take into consideration that the rear wheels are going to steer. Yeah. So we got to definitely make seat room for sure before you start making anything. You got to kind of visualize, okay, the 4-link bars are going to go here, steering shafts here, columns here, the gearbox needs to be over here.
That's almost where the steering wheel's at.
Yeah. And kind of reference all those years of building other cars, other trucks, and just kind of play it by ear. And we'll see what's about to happen.
I'm getting nervous, man. I'm definitely going to bring my helmet.
Trying to get the last of the front suspension done on the 46 Ford so we can get it off the powder coat. We got our first side of the suspension all mocked up, which, has its difficulties. You're working around the alternator, you're working around the header, you're trying to get the pivot points all 100% so the camber's all right, you got plenty of alignment. That's the difficult part of all the suspension work that we do around here. Once everything's figured out on one side, the difficulty is making everything a mirror image of what's on the driver's side. This is one of the most crucial parts of the whole suspension building process. It's pretty close. Level.
Getting that part all lined up 100% true is huge for the suspension building process. So next step is just taking a ton more measurements. And then we can do the bag mount, shock mount. That's a wrap. Did a great job on the 46 Ford. So we're ready to move it over to paint. And of course, Blue Thunder, it has to be blue. We got a ton of colors to pick from. There's a lot of blues. You know, there's a lot of pressure on me to pick the right color, not just to make the customer happy, but I want to pick the right color in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now. That color still looks good on that car. You paint it a dark blue, it's going to date it. It's going to look like it was built back in the 80s, 90s, when everything was dark blue. The way the body is shaped, you know, I think a lighter color with the metallic is really going to set off the lines and the curves of the car. You know, I'm thinking something like this is really going to go good on the body style of that car.
That definitely is going to be a cool color. We already put 2 of these bottles in there, and we still got to put more. I never seen a color take that much pro in it. They're probably going to give a flop, you know, when the sun hits it. Well, I started painting cars when I was like 12. Then when I was in high school, I used to paint my friends' cars. I didn't know what I was doing, but then I went to school for it, learned how to do it the right way, and it went on from there. The car has a lot of curves, so it's really going to make this Pro stand out a lot. Painting the car, giving that cool color is what gives the car that life, gives the attitude to the car.
Right, Blue Thunder is back.
We finished the frame on the 46 Ford and sent it off to powder coat. It came back in a white base, and Juan and the team color matched it blue. Now we can get that late model Coyote engine on the frame. You know, it's been a long time coming. I'm really excited. It's been a lot of work for everybody on the whole team to get to this point right here. And I can't wait to give this to Brian. He's going to be just blown away. Seeing a big build like this come together, you know, as usual, my guys are just putting it all on the line. Because if we take a job like this in, we're going to get it done, and we're going to get it done right. That's just what this business is built upon, is not saying no, taking in those jobs that nobody else wants to do because they're too big or too complicated. Cena.
I mean, are you sure? Because really no one can see me.
You know, John, when your car came in, I was talking with the record driver, and he said it was John Cena's, and I was like, man, you know, I assumed such a small car was, you know, for a smaller John Cena somewhere else in the world, not the John Cena.
It's me, man, and I pride myself on the unexpected and the unpredictable, and there's a lot about me that people don't know from just what they've seen, and this is certainly an example.
You know, we never had an MG in the shop before, so I'm kind of interested in what do you want to do to this thing?
I love the old British cars because they're small. I love the look of like the gauges on the dash and just the old racy type of feel that the cars have. And I bought it because it was kind of rare, but the only thing that was rare about it is the V6, and the V6 is kind of a dog anyway. So you guys not only do rare, you do like one of one.
That's it.
So I wanted to take a car that's relatively affordable and do something absolutely crazy with it.
No pressure there, right?
Yeah. You guys kill it on stance, and you guys kill it on body and paint, but I want to put some power in this thing too. So I want to lower it. I want to make it a wide body, like a GT3.
Race inspired for that car, man, I definitely dig that.
I want to keep that British feel on the interior, but I also want to make it racy. I've fallen in love with like the Gulf paint jobs, so I was even thinking like a French racing blue with orange and black pinstriping. And also it's currently a 4-seat, and you know that if we do all these mods, nobody's going to ride in the back. So do whatever you want with the rear hatch. It is like a hatchback, so you guys can have some fun with the extra real estate in there and do whatever you want. I've been obsessing over this car only because I know what you guys are capable of. I have very, very high hopes, and I know it's going to take a lot of man hours because it's going to be a lot of fab, and I don't know what's underneath.
I don't get surprised anymore once we start tearing cars apart. There's always hidden parts and pieces all throughout.
I have no doubt, and there's also another reason why I say you personally at MG. I know you do a lot of one-offs, but this car is going to be under a microscope. Enthusiasts are going to look at this car, and this will absolutely be something that the shop can hang its hat on. So I really kind of wanted to put you guys to the test.
Not only is this built for the John Cena, but the MG community, the MG world is going to take notice of this. You know, the stakes definitely couldn't be higher, but I'm ready for it. My team's ready for it. You're going to get in this car, put your butt in the seat, and go through the gears.
Parking something that should be driven. When it's parked, I will look at it as a piece of art, but I also want to be able to get in, drive, have fun, put some miles on the odometer for sure.
Man, that's what I like to hear.
The car is an automatic. I would love it to be a 3-pedal car because there's nothing like driving with a manual, especially like an old British car.
Right.
And also, if you can pull off the GT3 sort of wide body design, I would love to do something funky with the doors. Either like McLaren style or Gullwing style or even Aston Martin style where they kind of go out.
Hold up, you just want to get in that car easier.
Maybe. Maybe I do. And maybe like a hydraulic jack to set me down inside it. Yeah,
I mean, I'm really excited about this. Of course, I always say that, but you know, I haven't worked on an MG before, and I can't wait to get the creative juices flowing.
This is not by accident. I really admire your work, and man, the look on people's faces when they see the projects that are done. I'm really hoping that I can share that look with you in person when the car is all done.
Hell yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you very much, and I'm excited. We're going to make you something really, really cool.
I cannot wait. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you guys do the car.
John Cena.
That was John Cena.
You know, when it comes to customizing anything, you know, trucks are my deal. You know, American cars are my deal. You know, when it comes to an MG, we never had one in the shop. I've never put my hands on one, and making the extensive style fit an MG is going to be challenging, but I'm definitely up for that challenge. You know, there's a whole community that just lives and breathes these cars. So there's going to be all eyes on this car when we're done. I mean, that's a whole nother level of exposure, and people are just going to be going through it with the fine-tooth comb just to see what we did and what we modified. Once I pull this thing in the shop, you know, the guys are once again going to think I'm crazy, you know, bringing an MG into the shop. And, you know, once they know this is John Cena's car and what all we're doing to it, they're going to be just as excited as I am. Jimmy?
It's probably the first time I've ever lifted the hood on it. Why is it in the shop?
Because when you get a call from the John Cena saying he wants extensive to build him an MG, it shows up at the shop.
That's nuts.
Isn't that pretty cool?
That's real cool. I just think he'd fit in this thing.
Right? He wants to drive this car. Like, take it on the track, drive the hell out of it.
I would have never pictured one of these for like a road course car, but how small it is, you put enough power, it might be a lot of fun on a track.
That was going to be fun. The 69 MGC was known for its straight six, but we're going to give it a lot more power. You know, I don't know what kind of power we're going to put under the hood yet. We're going to rip all that out and just start fresh. New engine, new trans, nice suspension under it, coilovers, front and rear, big brakes in the fender well, good size tire, new paint, of course, new everything. You know, as far as the interior, just totally reimagine what's in there. You know, some nice seats and just reconfiguring gauges, just make it look really, really cool. Just something that he can get in and go, damn, this is badass, and want to drive this everywhere he goes.
Man, that's a privilege. He could choose anybody to do it, and he chose the shop on Sunny Drive.
Right. See, that's why we get him to come to work every day, right?
You never know who or what's going to walk through that door.
So we got to order a lot of parts. You know, as pumped up as we are or to get John Cena's car on the lift, you know, it's pretty much a game of bays around here. We got to get the 46 Ford out of the bay to make some room for it. I love seeing the rolling chassis come together. You know, it's all the work that nobody really gets to see, but in this stage.
So the car may look like a 46 Ford, but underneath, under the hood, it's a brand new car. So what we did is we put a Coyote in this thing, but with that comes a lot of technology, computers, wires, sensors. So now we have to put a whole new harness in this car, hide wires. It's a lot of work, but you'll be able to take this car anywhere you want to go.
I asked for a helper today. All this guy wants to do is take naps on me. So we're running this aluminum line from the air manifold all the way to the airbag. We use aluminum because it'll virtually last forever and it looks a lot better than your typical plastic or copper. We got a lot of bending to do and a lot of clearances to make sure we make. We do not want this interfering with anything else on this chassis, and we want it to flow with the frame rail as well. Whenever you make a mark, there's a certain spot you need on that line. Don't come with no instruction manual, so it's all about figuring it out. And if you don't do it right, your lines ain't gonna look right. And when your lines don't look right, it makes this beautiful chassis look like crap.
A build like this takes way more than a typical 9-to-5 day to finish. It's months of early mornings and lots of late nights. You know, that's especially true as we get to the end.
Ryan and his dad need their car back, and we want to see his chassis complete. So we're going to bolt the wheels on, we're going to roll it over there.
Or you want to get it right here with one fork?
You know, this is a huge milestone for us. This started out as some rectangle tubing and some pipe. Now it's a full chassis fixing underneath the car.
Yeah, go for it.
Firewall good? Right now it is. Man, it's cool when it always comes together. Get a little bit of bling on it, make everything come out, man. I think he's gonna be real happy. What do you think?
Hats off to the paint and body guys, man. I know they put a lot of work into this thing.
Everybody's worked all night, couple nights, trying to get this thing ready. So we got a long day tomorrow, so let's go home and get some sleep.
Yeah, recharge the batteries.
My guys at the shop killed it once, twice, 100 more times. It's unbelievable. Headlights, chrome bumper. John had a lot of work to do in this interior, and obviously he came with it.
So one of the last things I have left to wrap is going to be the center console. So you're going to have to sew a seam into it so I can wrap it as one piece.
Real men sew.
Yes, they do.
You know, it's been a long road. Ryan's a great, great guy. Taking care of his dad like this, just giving him something special. Brian has no idea what's about to happen. He's going to be really, really happy in about 5 minutes.
Hi, Cleve.
From the time I was 5, 6 years old, my mother, she wanted to be the neighborhood mom. Everybody came to our house, and she treated all my friends as mom.
What about sweets?
All right.
So when I started here, she quickly became Mama D, the shop mom.
Hey, Mama D. Hi. Would you like a donut?
I would. Thank you. If we're working late, she would come by and just like bring us drinks or bring us something to eat or whatever, and just being a mom.
Hi, sweetheart.
So everybody around here, when she walks in, they're like, Mama D, Mom, Mom, Mom.
Thank you very much. You're quite welcome. Love you. Have a great weekend. Hi, guys.
Hi.
We want some donuts? Having Tim working here at Extensive, I feel like I have numerous kids now.
Not our heroes, we're capes.
They're just awesome people. You're welcome. It's great.
You know, today is Surprise Day. So we're at RPM's new location, and they happen to be celebrating 40 years in business today. So I brought the crew out to get Brian back old Blue Thunder. Man, I love the new property, man. You got way more space here, right? Oh, yeah. You know, I got a little surprise for Brian. We stashed Blue Thunder in the back of his lot, so I'm going to ask him to kind of show me around, and we just might happen to stumble across his car. So I thought I had a lot of projects. They go on and on and on and on. Holy, looky there.
Here's your 46.
That can't be mine.
Hey. Hey, 40 years in business. Your son here stole your car from you, basically. Told you a fib that it was at another body shop, and we've been working on it.
I knew I should have come down.
Congratulations, you deserve it.
I didn't even think to park it out there. I would have never in my imagination ever thought that was mine.
What do you think,
Woo!
Brian?
Beautiful. Damn.
It doesn't look like the same car, does it?
Not at all.
You got a hell of a son.
Yeah, I do. And he's got some great friends.
You know, when Brian came around the corner and seen his car, you know, he got a little choked up. He was just overwhelmed, which I would be myself. Getting a gift like that, that's truly extraordinary. I mean, this is a good day for Brian, and something just never expected. Brian, you know what we started with. I mean, it was pretty much a whole, you know, it was a ton of work to go from where it was to where it is now, obviously. So what we did, we got your car in, totally took it apart, blasted it, and uncovered a lot of work. But as you can see, we've handmade everything. I mean, every bit of the frame itself is all handmade. Of course, we had to do air suspension on it to get it all the way on the ground like this with big billet wheels. You see the bodywork on this. I mean, the fenders all been molded together, the grills molded to the fenders, handmade running boards, welded the fenders to the body, and it's all just streamlined, super smooth. And of course we had to top that off because the car was Blue Thunder, right? So Thunder, right?
I agree. When I saw the color, I thought it was really great. Of course, when I was trying to pick out colors for it, it was going to be a lot darker, but man, that is perfect.
Let's check out under the hood.
Okay. Come on. Holy Toledo! Look at that!
Look at there!
Oh man!
Late model 5.0 Coyote.
Wow!
6-speed transmission. You know, you don't need any more power than this.
No, I don't.
Right? Woo. All new firewall, all the way to the floor, all the way to the rear roll pan.
This is totally awesome. When you lifted up that hood and I saw that motor, I was just dumbfounded. It was amazing. Because I had this motor at home I've been trying to put together to go in that car. Nothing compared to what I got in that car. Unbelievable.
We got a few other things to show you. Check this out.
Oh, man. Look at this. That is really cool.
What do you think, Brian's a little different from sheet metal in it, right?
Unbelievable.
It's a little bit more comfortable ride than what you know before, right?
Yeah.
You know, John in the interior shop just, they definitely showed their skills on this, right? Everything is, you know, hand sculpted and molded to the car. You know, the 4 bucket seats in it, you know, the console, new dash, new column, new everything.
A whole lot more than I ever anticipated. Never even thought about it being like this at all.
Ryan said, build his dad something cool. So
it's cool. No doubt about that.
Hey, Brian, we got one more surprise for you. Just to top all this off, I think you're really going to be impressed a little more.
A little more. Let's go.
Whoa, look at there.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
You know, it looks like you'd want to pull your suitcase out here, right? You know, John made you a matching suitcase to tie in all the interior, right? But it's a sub box, so the speaker is actually in that box that looks like luggage. That's pretty cool, huh?
Crazy, yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, I've never seen a speaker box look like that.
Where'd that idea even come from? Right. You see the luggage in the old 40s era and stuff and the older stuff, but to pull that out your mind and do that,
it's
crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. What everybody did for me and what my son had done the car and what Bill did to it is just amazing, and I just can't believe that really happened. I thank you, son, and I love you.
Love you.
Good job, man.
No, you good job.
Thanks.
You know, I always say, I can't do this myself. You know, this is one more example of just my team getting down, doing what they do, building cool stuff like they do. They proved it this time. Brian, giving him something really cool. That just goes to show you that Brian's a good dude doing good things in the community and for his family. We're going to probably tack a piece of tubing here and there. Okay. Jamie and I are mocking up the first metal work, which would be an all-terrain, all-metal, all-tube custom buggy. The overall feel of the whole project is going to start taking shape once we get these clamped in. You can kind of step back and kind of see how everything looks, you know.
All right, where's my helmet?
Because it
comfy?
Helmet room? Hell no.
Hey, this ain't made to be comfortable. This project is such a reminder of how extensive was started. Starting with nothing and building piece by piece by piece by piece by piece by piece. And here we are. I never would have dreamed I'd be where I'm at right now. Never. It was never a dream come true because I never dreamed that. I just feel totally blessed to be in the position I am to keep building the business. You know, we got celebrities driving down Sunny Drive to see what's going on at Extensive. It's basically a 4-seater monster truck. Monster buggy.
Monster.
Just really make you start thinking where everything started to where it's. I want to see you actually sit in the car, see how much room we got to work with.
Once you get in, it's kind of okay. This should change the whole look of that car.
We're going to be putting LS in this thing. Is this possible? I'm not sure yet.
2020 Denali 2500. This big truck isn't big enough. I have free reign to do whatever we want to do.
Whatever you want.
And it's going to be a surprise to this guy's wife.
Don't let my wife hear this.
Man, that's awesome.
That is so cool.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You're just wishing one day you can get to that point where you can build the way you want to build because the owners trust you to make it perfect. We're reaching that point now as a business. You know, that comes with a whole lot of pressure to get it right. Case in point, John Cena's 69 MGC. Here's a massive celebrity giving me free reign to make it cool.
Hello.
Pleasure to meet you, man. Finally in person.
Very nice to meet you.
It's so good to be here. I can't tell you how happy I am and excited I am. This is awesome.
I'm really excited for you to come in too. I mean, I know Val is.
Pleasure to meet you, Val. I'm John.
Likewise.
John shipped his MG to us, but we never met in person. This would be the first MG I've ever worked on. One of the things that stood out right away is its size. After looking at the car, seeing how small this MG is, and just seeing John Cena, he just looks humongous. MG, it's a small car.
It is.
I'm really concerned about you being uncomfortable in this.
Is this the large guy, small car?
There's a little something to
okay, you danced around that pretty good, but yeah, all right, well, let's address the elephant in the room, literally. I'm not fit for an MG, so how do we do that?
To see how you fit, to see how much room we got to work with.
Okay, so this is actually really like not only a custom build for my taste, but a custom build for my size.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely in. I'll have a bespoke car, custom tailored to me. That sounds awesome. Shall we see this thing?
Let's go check it out.
All right, excellent. Man, it's so good to meet you. There it is, in a state of despair. Walking in and seeing the MG in the bay, it's bittersweet. Man, it's such a beautiful car and has so much potential, but it's in a sad state. So it's bittersweet, but I'm excited to see what it can be.
Is this your first time laying eyes on it?
So I bought it online, and it was like, oh man, this is too good to be true. And then the place that received it was like, you got to come down and see it because it was too good to be true. And I was so disappointed. I can't wait to see what it can be. I can't wait to see what you can do with it, man.
You know, when we first talked this through, he told me he wanted a car he could drive fast and have a lot more power. We're swapping out the inline 6-cylinder with a built 6.2 LS. Giving him a custom modified chassis with brand new suspension, wheels, tires, and a wide body kit to give it that racing look. Paint and handmade interior. This isn't your only British car.
No, I have a TC, but all of them are so effing small. Like even this is supposed to be a roomy coupe with a back seat. It's still really small.
You know, the main thing I wanted you to come in for is actually
sit in the car to see how much we're working with. You know, I want to know how much room is in the footwell. I want to know, you know, how much, if we got to scoot the seat back or what.
Yeah. So because of the way the wheel sits, this is usually always my entrance. All right. Once you get in, it's kind of okay.
Once you're in.
Making the in easier.
Oh, definitely.
Like, this is always a problem.
One of the things, right off the bat, we can add a tilt wheel to it, flip it up, and
bingo,
and give you a lot
or at least
more room.
some adjustable column in some sort of way.
Maybe scooting the seat down a little bit.
Yeah.
Scooting it back a little bit.
Why not?
You got about this much headroom now. You hit a little bump and...
Yeah, the saggy headliner doesn't help at all.
Scooting the firewall back is not an option. We got to move the seat back. Let John get his big-ass legs in there. I think his legs are bigger than my chest. What do you think about maybe even a six-pack?
I think we're sharing a brain here. I'm literally already one hand on the gear stick, so I would love a clutch and a manual shift.
In the transmission tunnel, if it had to come out an inch to add a pedal, are you cool with that?
I am.
All right.
I am. I have to do it. I never want to tell an artist how to paint, but I need you to keep this. I know this car is going to look so different when it's done, but this is like undeniably MG, and whatever you put in for a shifter, this has to be the top of the gear knob.
You got it.
I got my heart set on so much of this, but you're the artist, and I'm going to let you do your thing. So I will remove myself from your office. Excellent.
But you want to go check out the shop?
Heck yeah, I do.
Let's go. You know, I'm kind of anxious to see the world's take on how extensive does MG. You know, we're totally up for the challenge, and we're definitely going to surprise a lot of people on this one. What's happening, man?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, man, good.
Bill, nice to meet you, Chris Staff.
What you doing here today, man? It's a good-looking truck.
Well, this is my wife's truck.
This is your wife's?
Yeah, man.
And that's a cool truck for your wife to be driving around in.
No doubt.
Man.
Daily driver, too. Takes the kids to school, grocery shopping, you know, the routine. I put in lift and wheels and tires for her, and she's not quite satisfied with them. And
what?
I decided, let's go bigger with it.
That's not big enough for her.
No, I don't think so.
Man, when a big truck rolls in the parking lot, I always get excited. But when the customer wants this big truck to be even bigger, I get really excited.
She's super into lifted trucks, man, and I think she kind of likes it when she's at the gas station and the guy next to her is asking her about her truck.
And she's in a way cooler truck than him.
No doubt. And I can't wait to see her expression when she sees what you've created for her.
So this is a surprise for her?
Yeah, she thinks it's in the shop for a little bit of maintenance. So.
Man, I love it. What better gift to give your wife than a cool car, right? You know, obviously.
No doubt, man. And you know, you did it up on that, and your wife was happy, and I know that we're going to do the same thing here.
A car guy wanted to give his wife a gift. You know, I can totally relate. He wants his wife to have the biggest and the best. That's what we're doing. So I have free rein, big wheels, big tires, big axles, and just go crazy with the air suspension lift so she can totally adjust where she wants to ride.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Make it even bigger.
Yeah, man, you're talking my language.
Because this truck's going to be so huge, we got to put some retractable steps. It's got wife, kids, we got to make them comfortable. The black plastics around the wheel openings, color match that to really make it not only big, but have that classiness to it also.
Nice. I like it.
And of course, color match everything underneath too. We'll make you something real cool.
Awesome.
Most people, when they hear there's a lifted truck we're going to make higher, get it in, change the springs out, add a little lift to it, put a little bit bigger wheel and tire, definitely not going to do that. Anywhere else in the world, this is top of the line. You can't get better than this. 2500 truck, it's already big, it's already lifted, it's huge. But
we're in Texas. Dealerships customizing like this here in Texas, so we're gonna take this, attack it, and make Chris a totally unique, totally custom truck. Nice truck. It is, right? Mm-hmm. 2020 Denali 2500. Already got a lift, big wheels and tires on it. It's a cool truck. So why is it here? This big truck isn't big enough. He wants it way bigger. And it's going to be a surprise for this guy's wife.
Don't let my wife hear this. Can you imagine being the neighbor and the wives talk and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you got her a truck. I got you some flowers.
It's going to ruin the whole neighborhood.
So you say a lot bigger. It's like, what are you thinking?
Put it on the lift and cut everything out. Slick frame rails, front to back. No hangers, no nothing. Independent front suspension. Doesn't look as impressive as a straight axle in the front. So we're going to put a straight axle, front and rear, matching axles with air suspension on it too. Give her that adjustability, that good ride, our signature 2 bends all throughout. Big wheels, big tires, at least 42s on it. And just that big, mean, massive look.
How tall is she?
Well, I don't know. She might need a ladder, but, you know, getting rid of the old Nerf bars, paint the frame, color match all the black plastics and everything, and a ton of underlight. The poor guys that are going to put now, they're going to feel bad after this one.
And now we have this thing on the air. So I'm going to now strip all this stuff down, put it on a couple pallets. It already has a lift kit on it, so we'll put this lift kit back on the pallet, give it back to the owner. If he wants to sell it, give it to somebody else or whatever, that's up to him.
That's all I needed. I got the drive shaft removed. Now to remove the shocks. When I get it done with all that, I'm gonna disconnect the U-bolts and this whole rear end to drop down with the wheels on it so we can roll it out of here.
As far as geometry, we're not going to use none of this stuff. The hangers, the bump stops, we want a completely clean slate. So we're going to come through, torch all that off, grind it back down, and from here to here it'll be completely fresh. It'll allow us to put our pipes wherever we want, however we want to build it, we can build it.
Finding parts these days has been a nightmare. But as fabricators, you don't have to wait to get what you need. You got to make what you need.
We took everything off that truck that was stock, so we need some straight axles to put underneath it. So you don't want to PS while it'll be messed up. So for that, we're just going to change it all over to Power Stroke axles. We have this donor 250 frame laying around. We'll simply drop these out, clean these axles up, and then we'll start fresh with our own brackets ready for the 4-lane. What we want to do is make sure the front axle and the back axle are identical. So I can take this laser, jack this up to right where the top hits the laser. Then we know this one and that one are perfectly parallel and they're both level. This gives us a great foundation to build everything off of.
We got our axles in place, got the truck where it needs to be. Next thing is making the drop down itself. We're going to make a plate that'll bolt to the frame, tie everything together, and we'll have a spot to make our 4-link bolt to the truck. You see the general idea where the 4-link bars are going to be, where they're going to hit on our plate once we burn it out. From the bottom of the frame. So the only thing I need to really establish now is just a kind of a flowing design. You know, I do this with the chipboard so you can kind of see exactly what the finished part is going to look like. Hey, that's me. Check it out, man. Burn it out a 1/4 inch. All right, it's going to be a lot longer 4-link, you know, than other ones we built in the past. So that's why these are so close together. I think it's going to look real cool.
All I'm doing here is just laying out my measurements and bring them back onto my computer and just cut it out right on the plasma table. I will be cutting 2 of them. They're both going to be for the outside. Then I'm going to do another 2 for the inside. This will perfectly match the template. So now that I know it's perfect, I'm going to cut out 1 more. Punch my hose off the template. clean it up and then take it over to the guys at their shop.
Hear that side? Bill designed the drop-down bracket. Jesse's already burned it all out. Now all I gotta do is put it up here on the frame, and it'll go together like a puzzle. Since we know the truck's level, we know this is where we want it, we're gonna level side to side. So we know this bracket and this bracket are perfectly level. So we build all the bars the same, everything comes out identical. And that's a hammer in my ear. Throwing it out just so we know it won't move at all. We're just gonna put a tack on each end. Then we'll go through, what's for the suspension, we don't want any wiggle room. What I'm gonna do now is drill all the holes on the outside, bolt it 100% tight. I'll drill all the holes from the bottom and I'll bolt them 100% tight before we tack anything. And then when everything is super tight, then we'll weld this so we know it stays exactly how it should.
The body kit for the 69 MGC has arrived. It's going to change the shape of the car for a meaner, racier look. Max is getting it unloaded into the shop.
Oh, very cool. So full body kit, 2 front fenders, we got inner arches, there's a giant front spoiler there as well. They call it the Sebring body kit, which is kind of at the rounded, they've got nice flares on here. Originally designed off the factory race cars of the late 60s that ran at Sebring.
This should change the whole look of that car.
You're going to cut up a perfectly good MGC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I know there's not a lot of them. I mean, maybe...
About 9,000, mate.
9,000. We'll leave 8,999 of the purists, and we'll make this one a 101.
We almost have a whole MG right there.
Yeah.
Before we get this car all tore down, I asked Tim to get Juan and Edgar to install the body kit. You know, first things first.
This is John Cena's car. And there's not a lot you can do to these cars, but he wanted a wide body kit. Because right now it looks kind of weak, kind of skinny. But if we do a wide body kit, it's going to come out a couple more inches on each fender. And then that also allows us to move the wheels out a couple inches on each fender too. That's why we need y'all to do the wide body kit first. That lets us know where to put the front wheels and how wide we can make the wheels in the back that'll fit underneath there. And then we know how far out we can move all of our travels. We can move the wheels. We can order all that stuff. First and foremost, we're going to take all the side trim off, the blinkers off, all that off. Don't throw it away. Put it in a box. We're going to keep it till we know what we're going to use or not. You don't know till we're done.
So I had to take the glass out to get to this molding right here. The white body is going to sit on top of this quarter panel, and this mold is going to be on our way. So yes, we got to do whatever we got to do. Now that we have everything apart, it's time to put our first piece of the wide body kit. See how it fits. It's going to look pretty cool.
This is going to be the inner fender wheel that's going to go inside. Start cutting, pretty much follow my outline. First piece coming off. I got to get in here, cut this whole entire tub all the way, make it nice and smooth, and make ourselves a new one. Way much more space. From here to the inside, it fits pretty good. Once I put the tub in, then I'll put the quarter in. And we should see what the end result after that.
We're getting ready to put the front bumper on, but in order to do that, we're going to have to cut our support right here to make our bumper fit. So a lot of people think buying a body kit, grab it, throw it on the car, and everything fits perfect. But it's not that way. It was built for a car like this, but it was made in the mold, so stuff shrinks and expands, so it's not going to fit 100%. That's why we body made it. And we're going to put it on there, try to get it as best as we can, and then we're going to body work it and make it all perfect.
So we're finished installing the body kit and all the body work. And Jamie's tearing out the old inline 6.
There's a lot going on in this little engine bay.
Even back in the 60s, British cars were notorious for squeezing a lot of technology in small spaces. But all that's got to go to make room for that new built LS.
Well, it's the first time looking underneath this car. There's a lot going on. I'm just taking it in right now. So what I'm seeing so far is everything's really compact. It's such a small little car. We're going to be putting LS in this thing. I mean, is this possible? I'm not sure yet. So I'm going to start by just cutting the exhaust off right here. It's definitely not going to work for what we're doing. There we go. So I can get this cross member right here. Get the drive shaft off. Get the cross member loose. So all I need to do is get these motor mounts way up yonder so I can lift the motor out. Got these right. Okay, so I got the transmission mount out, got the motor mounts cut loose. I'm pretty much ready to start pulling this motor. So I'm gonna go ahead and take everything I need off from the top side so I can get to the motor nice and easy. This is going to nothing. That's hooked up to linkage. That makes no sense. I can definitely see why people hate working on British engines. There's so much going on right here that's just kind of overwhelming. This is going inside the car. Don't want to cut that. I'm not afraid to do any of this kind of stuff. This right here has made me kind of second guess everything, and I know we're just pulling it out, but I'm just a little, standoffish.
What do you think, Davey? First shot, nothing messed up, comes right out.
Not a chance. Let's see what happens. Something's stuck. We're gonna have to pull it out like that. Maybe if I put a ratchet strap around the front of it and tilt it. Pick it up a little bit. Back up if you can. Stop. I don't know how much more I can go on this strap. Come up. Up, 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 up. Come on. Got it? Yeah. We got it. Cricket want to come out.
So we finished the drop-down brackets, got all the 4-link sets for the 2020 Denali. Now Tim's going to start making the bag mounts.
I needed a start for my bags. We put this piece of tubing up here and clamped it. So you know that both these surfaces are flat. That gives me what I need to start making the tubing to secure this. Like my nose ring. I'll put one up there. I'll mark the bottom where I want it. I'll cut that, and I'll use that one as a template to make the back 4. How's that look in the front? You twist one way or another?
Looks pretty good, I think. Let's see if this one fits. Putting these little vertical uprights may look easy, but trying to get them lined up is a little tight. All visual. We want to get all these pipes lined up the same way across side to side. That way everything looks symmetrical. Looks pretty good.
Put all the structure in for the lower bag mounts, and now we'll start building the pipes to support this from the frame. It's kind of an extensive signature look. We always take a rolled tubing and roll it from the frame to the bag mount, and from the bag mount to the axle. One of the good things about this project for me is I can relate to this. I can understand what this guy wants for his wife. She wants to have one of the big lifted trucks. And not only that, wanting a one-off custom truck, not something you bought on the shelf. I've had the same bug bite me. You want it a little bigger, you want something a little different, and then you also want to pull up, and everybody's like, damn, who did that? And that's why I want to take my time and give them what they expect.
I'm not a fan of the black trim on this Denali. So Juan's going to color match it white to match the rest of the truck.
So we're going to take all these gaskets, going to take them off, sand them, prime them, and paint them the same color as the truck. Alright, so we're about to color match those pieces for the Denali. You know, a lot of people think it's, oh, well, you know, it's white. So you have like a lot of variances to white. That's like the hardest color to match. Like this truck right here, it's just solid white, but it has black in it, blue, green, yellow. All this stuff makes a difference in your color. So our next color is oxidized red, but it looks orange. It takes a little bit of it too, it's like a drop. Alright, so if I did my job right, once we put these pieces on the car, it should blend right in.
You know, the bag mounts and tubings all in place on the Denali 2500.
Are you going to split that?
That, I got to. Because then I can move it back the length of the pipe.
Now I got Tim and John adding all the pipe work to give us some style and that strength.
What we're going to get into now, bag mount to bag mount, and they're going to attach in the center. The same thing down here. And the whole reason for doing that is just to give these bag mounts some support. Since they're so low from the frame, we got to support those to keep them from moving around. We're going to do that same exact thing down here on the axle. We got to keep these bags supported, and off of that, we're going to build our panhard bar. That's how it happened. You trim that side, should go in.
Now you can see how the top one's going to look. We're going to put a bar here and another bar in the back, and we'll support it off this bar that John put in, and then we'll figure out our panhard bar. This side looks good.
Check that's it.
Right there?
Yeah.
Bueno, I'll let you tack it since you have a hood on.
Look good right there. We got these two bars tacked in place, connected to our bag mounts. Now we know for sure there's going to be no left and right movement on these because they're locked into place with this brace.
You know, 69 British car isn't known for good handling, good brakes. You know, we're going to fix that. The MGC is what you call a unibody, where the frame and body are all one piece. We reinforced the frame rails by one piece and just welded it all the way down and around. It's really, really strong now. Can you hold a level on?
Needs to go that way about an 8.
Then we're going to connect it down to the new cross member. Then it'll be one solid frame rail.
Pretty close, man. Like it's all on.
Cool. And that looks pretty damn good. Tack a piece of flat bar to it from the top of the DOM up to here.
Okay.
With all the torque we're adding to this vehicle, we're going to have to add a lot of strength and rigidity. So we're measuring and cutting flat bar, then we'll attach it to the cross member. Cut one off this one and one off the other one, so we got this done. We're just going to start boxing it all in. Before long, it'll all be one piece. You know, jobs like this take a long time. But you got to be precise because all the weight of the car is going to rest on it.
Alright, so I got the cross member all welded in. Everything's intact. Really strong now. So next thing is go ahead and let the car down. Get the engine in here. Man. One way or another, I guess we'll get it in there.
Think it'll start?
Nope. No way. Well, bet 20 on it. Oh, you lost that $20.
Why didn't we put jump cables on here a long time ago? So we don't have the built LS for John Cena's 69 MGC yet. So me and Jamie are going to use a mock-up engine to make sure everything fits.
Come on in. Stay up right there. Stay up.
We'll get the mock-up engine and trans down in it.
All right, go in.
We'll build our motor mounts, build our transmission mount. You know, if it all goes as planned, which it rarely does, I said don't manhandle it so much. I mean, be easy with it, you know what I mean? When the new power plant gets here, it'll drop right in.
Yeah. There it is. All right, let's own it.
Okay. And that actually fits in there pretty good, huh?
Not gonna say no.
It's not mounted.
I know better.
Man, we're gonna have some pissed off MG people at us, right?
Man, that's okay. We're gonna make it way better than it ever was with all this torque and the suspension.
I mean, that's why you have a sports car for power and performance.
Definitely.
That's exactly what we got now.
So John Cena came in, him and Bill talked. Bill took some measurements, so now we need to get that seat back a little further. I've got an idea where the seat was already before because they're just right to the floorboard, but I have an issue right here. I don't want it, just drilled to the floorboard, so I'm going to go ahead and section out this piece of the floor, move it back 2 inches, and then go ahead and fill in so it's going to look factory. It's going to look like it should have been that way, and it's going to give John that extra space that he's asking for. So I got all three of my holes marked 2 inches back. Next thing is go ahead and just cut this piece out. Make a little line here. Cut it one more time. Start forming my metal to fill in the gap. Moving the seat back a couple inches doesn't seem like much, but with the guy as big as John Cena, every inch counts in this little car. So I get in, back in the car. Alright, so I'm happy with the placement. Looks like it should have been there from factory. So now I'm going to go ahead and put our piece we just made in. Okay, so this is our driver's side. We're going to use this drop as the passenger side. Make some little guide marks right here so I can cut the piece to fit perfectly. When you're welding like this, you don't ever want to overlap, so you want to make sure it's in there nice and tight. So I'm going to try to just kind of deck it down some, just try to refine the shape. It kind of blends it all in. I'm going to go ahead and use a step bit, drill these down. That's going to be our new position for the seat. So this is going to give John the little bit extra room he actually needs.
Start.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
You know, this car came in, I think everybody was shaking their heads.
I know what we're going to do with this thing.
MG?
Yeah.
John Cena? No way. You see now, everybody's getting excited, right? We've got many hours in it. In all reality, a 69 MG doesn't look like this from the factory.
No, man, that's nice wide down here. This motor, I'm starting to really get the visual of the car, man. It's really starting to come together. I can see the finished product.
Starting to see it, see how cool it's gonna be now. That 6.2 looks at home in here now, right?
Yeah.
With the manual 6-speed transmission, this car is gonna be fun to drive.
Man, I can't wait to ride this thing.
We got a huge head start, but we got a long way to go. Everything we've done, we got to rip all back out and build the suspension, front and rear. New column, new everything in here.
The bad thing about it being a little car is not a lot of space for all this stuff, so it's going to take a little bit of time trying to figure everything out.
Absolutely. It's our first MG, but I think once people see this, it ain't going to be our last. The lifted 2020 Denali is going to be completely over the top. The customer wants to surprise his wife with this huge truck that can also go anywhere. So we're adding huge off-road shocks to the suspension.
Timmy did a nice job doing all the tube work for the upper bag mount. He left one piece off for us so we could install the racing shock, which we just got in. So we're going to start off doing the bottom mount, put it in place so we can make the top mount. And after we got that racing shock in place, we can continue where Timmy left off. Lower mount. We're going to get this tacked in right about here. When lining up these shocks, you just want to make sure you're going to clear your airbag, which is about 12 inches diameter. You want to make sure your caliper clears it. You want to make sure everything clears the shock body and all these compression and rebound tubes. That way the shock does not get damaged. Now, how to make the upper mount. Any great ideas, Hyman?
Make a plate with some DOM and just weld on both sides and with a gusset underneath the DOM. Something like that.
That's what I was thinking too.
Great minds think alike.
We're gonna make a couple tabs for the upper shock mount. Now we're gonna cut this out 2 triangles like this with a 1-inch hole. And we're gonna put this DOM through the hole, weld it around, square it up. Then we can get this tacked onto the truck. And then we'll make 2 gussets off of that. That'll weld off this DOM all the way down to the frame. Give it extra support. There we go. Got top mount, gussets, bottom mount. That should be pretty strong.
It needs to be mocked up on the truck.
Time to take it apart.
Just start in the back. We'll work our way forward. Send it to powder coat.
White, black. The exhaust, piping, that gloss, everything else white.
Okay. I'm really happy how this thing's looking. Once all the parts get back from powder coat, it will stand tall. We got the frame and suspension back from powder coat. We had it all color matched to the Denali, and it looks great.
Everybody ready?
So now it's time to put it all back together.
I'm going to go forward about 4 inches. You know, that's my favorite part of the build. Everything's coming back together, and you can finally see the final picture of what it's really going to look like. At this stage, it's like a giant puzzle made of steel. Custom 4-link bars, airbags, shocks, new wheels and tires, and bumpers. With a bunch of one-off features, there won't be another truck exactly like this on the road. The clientele we have had through the shop and the names of some of the clientele, you know, Houston icon, like we did Earl Campbell's.
Look at that. Wow-wee, man, that is great.
Houston legend of the rap scene, you know, Slim Thug, we did his.
Oh, sick, bro.
John Cena's a huge deal. He could take his car anywhere, but yet he chose to come in here to get his dream MGC built. Do we normally work on British cars? No, I don't think anyone in the shop's ever even ridden an MG, much less worked on one. There's a huge following of those cars. No matter how well it's built or how good it looks, there's going to be a whole variety of these people who are upset because of what you did to this MGC. If that breaks some hearts, it breaks some hearts. But we just don't do restorations.
The owner of the 2020 Denali wanted to lift this truck as a really cool gift to give to his wife. What better way to brighten her day than add a ton of light?
So one of the final steps in building this truck is we gotta add a bunch of underlighting. So at night you can see this thing glowing anywhere it goes down the road of the truck. Better get going. We gotta pop holes in the fender liners for the wires to come through, and then mount all these to the wheel wells. So the back wheel wells are a little tricky because they're flat. These lights, you really want to curve them down to show the suspension and not show the tires. So we gotta try to figure out how to make that work. But once it's done, it's gonna be killer. So the only challenging thing about doing this is with 32 lights, and you have to do one at a time and go front to back, go around the truck twice. It takes a lot of time to connect them one to the other. We're gonna turn them on and shoot them with the suspension the best way possible to light it all up. When you see this thing at night, it's gonna be a real stunner.
You know, I love this story. I love when the husband gives the wife a gift, especially a custom truck. That's a good day for me too. You know, it's always good to get a build out of the shop, but it's extra special when you can give it to someone for a surprise. Chris, what's happening? Bill, how you been? Hey man, good. Hi. This is my wife, Jennifer.
Hi, Bill. Nice to meet
you.
What are we doing out here, meeting in a field?
You hadn't told her nothing. She just thinks the truck's in the shop. Well, it has been in a shop, right? You didn't say what shop, Chris, right? Right.
So where is it?
Your husband has had your truck at Extensive Metalworks, and we've been doing a few things. It was a big truck, already had a big lift on it, but Chris said, nope, it ain't big enough.
It's even bigger?
Oh yeah, surprise.
Surprise.
It's something that me and all the guys at the shop are very proud of, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. Who's more excited?
Okay.
Let's check it out.
Let's do it.
I'm ready, man.
There it is. Oh my God.
Dude.
Look at this.
Wow.
It's so
That's freaking crazy. That didn't even look like the same truck, dude. Wow.
I love it. Love it.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Whoa. Man, that's awesome.
That is so cool.
Man, look at those airbags.
That's beautiful. Man.
You happy?
Yes, I'm happy.
You said you wanted bigger.
It's definitely bigger. It's a monster truck.
Right. I think she just coined a new phrase there.
It's a monster.
The monster truck. The kids are going to be so stoked about going to school now.
In the monster truck.
When it came in, it was a nice truck. Nice wheels and tires, nice lift, had a good stance, but Chris said that ain't good enough.
Yeah.
He wanted his wife riding something just way, way over the top and to give you something special and totally surprise you.
It covered all. Amazing. That thing's a monster now.
I'm in awe. I just still can't believe how good the truck turned out. Once we got it in the shop, we put it up on the lift and just ripped everything out. Ripped the independent front suspension all out and just started with bare frame rails. Once you make a truck really high with the independent, there's a lot of limitations to that. So what we did is put a straight axle in the front and build big 4-link bars going down to the new axles front and rear. Finish it off with air suspension, so you got about 10 inches of adjustability all the way up and all the way down.
That'll come in handy.
When you roll up somewhere, if it just isn't quite tall enough, you just air it up a little more. All the custom metal work underneath a truck like this, brand new straight axle in the front with the big airbags, the big shocks. Man, it looks good.
We're glad you let us kind of have some free reign. We wanted to keep it classy with the Denali look. Bill went ahead and had the whole frame dropped out. The whole thing's powder coated, which really contrasts everything, the black to the white. It really makes everything pop really nice.
It is sick.
It is definitely.
And at night, you're going to see all that detail work underneath there, too. There's 32 underlights that just light up the whole underneath and just the whole concrete all the way around it. Oh,
fantastic.
Man, I can't wait to see it. Yes. I say it a lot, but I got to say it again. It's not a one-man show. Everybody without him, man. She's all yours now.
Yes.
I hope you love it.
Yes.
Well, babe, how did I do?
You did so good. I love it. I love you.